All right, hey everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Art of Truth podcast, this time with video. We're actually excited to bring this to you live. You can see our little studio. Sean has brought some pretty cool glass in. He's talked to me about this for a while, for actually like quite a while, kind of let me know that there's these would you say glass blower?
Yeah, they're glass blower.
Like some of the best in the world are around town, like right here in Eugene. So honestly, like even though he described it to me, I mean, I don't know how well you can see this on video, but this little monkey's pretty fucking badass.
Personally, it's one of my favorite pieces of all time. It was made by a guy named Nico Cray, who was living out here for a couple years. He's from St. Louis. He's back in St. Louis right now. And I caught him finishing up the tail, I believe. And the rest of it was in the kiln because it's 2 pieces.
Yeah, look at this thing.
This detaches.
Oh shit! Look at that.
Yeah. So that's the joint where you put your banger or your bowl in there.
You know, just as
the head is where you suck. So this is all functional.
It's crazy because like just as an artist, I mean, I can tell like that's like you're the real deal, and like it could be half as good and still be amazing, but this thing is crazy.
Dude, I'm such a primate monkey fan.
I know, what a perfect thing, right?
I freaked out. Yeah. I freaked the fuck out. Sorry for those audio levels, but yeah, I freaked the fuck out when I saw him making it. I was like, I think I had a chubby and I was drooling.
I would have bought it. I would have definitely bought this.
Well, yeah. It's exactly. I was like, can I take that home today? And he was down for it, so we made it happen.
So just for the listeners, what's his name again? In case they want to check it
Nico
out.
Cray, Niko.
Nico Cray. Nico, you do some amazing work. I am super impressed.
Yeah, and that was at the Glass Ranch, which is over at the Cornerstone Glass Shop, which is here in Eugene. And there's just a whole group of amazing artists in that building. But in the corner building where this piece was made, it's called the Glass Ranch. It's also Thunderdome. I mean, there's a lot of nice nicknames, but I mean, Cowboy, and now Banjo's in there. And so the world's best glass blower.
It's so weird to me that, like, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Eugene completely makes sense, but it just until you told me, I didn't realize that we had these badasses here.
Well, you're here, dude. I mean, that's fucking funny too, because people look at my art when they see my like, tats and Eugene? Shit. I know. And then so like the last 3 days, it's been tank top weather.
Sure.
I'm out and about, and people
notice him a lot more.
Hitting me with compliments lately.
Nice.
And I'm always just like, yeah, it's Joshua Carlton. Thank you, for the compliment. But Joshua Carlton is one of the world's premier tattoo artists, and he's right here in Eugene. So, check him out, give him some props, or at least try to follow him and recognize that we have an amazing artist here.
Very cool. Yeah, for Eugene being like an art town. Like, when I moved here, I always heard like Eugene's this art town. But then I got here and it's like, yeah, but it's like people making art with Cheerios on fucking poster board. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely some cool stuff out here, but Eugene itself tends to focus much more on the like hippie side of art.
It goes beyond tie-dye.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's really nice to see this type of glass stuff, or like walking into a gallery and seeing some really, we have a really nice like a gallery that has these beautiful Japanese paintings and stuff downtown. Really nice, right over across the street from like off the Waffle. You know what I mean? Really nice stuff. Yeah. So always exciting to see. I was thinking about it when I was tattooing earlier today. You had sent me a photo where you were kind of clearing your yard out. I didn't know you had. First of all, I didn't know you had such a big yard. That's cool.
That was a small like piece of it.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. Did that tree just fall? Did the tree just fall in your yard?
No. So when we had the ice storm, excuse me, two winters ago, there was a branch of this black oak that fell perfectly on top of my chimney. And then rolled off and hit the very corner of my house.
Were you home when it happened?
Yeah, man, I was home. And then the power was already out because of that ice storm, was knocking power out.
That ice storm was bad.
It was the worst ice storm I think that we ever had here documented.
I had a visitor in town, and it sounded like war was going off outside of my house.
Yeah, all those pops, pop. When so I heard it snap. It woke me up in bed, and I was on the opposite side of my house from where the tree actually hit my house. But I heard it snap off of the tree because it was that massive, and so it was pow. And then within a second later, it hit the house, and it was a boom, and it shook my whole house. And I'm like, I wake up naked, and I jump up, grab my gun, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not. God damn it, something hit my house. Fuck, a tree hit my house. Fuck. So I have a flashlight because there's no lights anywhere because the power had been out for like 6 hours already. It's 4:00 in the morning. I go out and I look in, you know, my living room where I assumed the tree had like hit the outside of the house, you know, and it wasn't like coming through my living room ceiling. And so I was like, well, shit, I have nothing I can do about it tonight. Let's just fuck. I mean, what am I going to do, dude?
It looked like a lot of work. And it, you know, I saw you kind of been chopping it up and everything. But, you know, I was listening to a podcast last night. I was actually Rogan, but he had Ben Greenfield on. And Ben is mentioning his workout regimen. And he said he built like a obstacle course in his backyard, and I immediately was like, this is fucking I have a huge backyard that I don't do anything because I have chickens in it, you know what I mean? Which
is pretty cool.
Yeah. And so I immediately was like, that's some cool shit, because I'm a fan of working out at home right now, at least. But so I think I'm gonna get on that, man. I think I'm gonna start, even if it's just like, you know, a tractor tire that I flip over, some hay bales I climb up onto, some monkey bars. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it'll end in a zip line. You know what I mean? So, but I'm going to start working on that. And I was thinking like that'd be something cool I think I could see you getting into that. You know
well,
what I mean?
We were talking about, you know, monkey bars and how like, I think it was probably right after I was talking about hanging from the pull-up bar and how I was doing that and incorporating that into my daily routine and how much it was helping everything. And then I was like, man, I really wish I could find like a 13-foot tall monkey bar set, you know, because I'm so tall.
Yeah.
You know, I can touch the ground from like 10 feet or whatever. So I was, and to have the bar spaced far enough, you know, that I could actually get like a good
I never thought about that.
Going.
Yeah. Like it'd be completely a different experience for you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, right. Well, a lot of things are a little bit more different when you're this long.
Yeah.
But
showers are different. Like I would say elevators smell different to midgets. You know?
Oh my God. Yeah, well, I mean, I never really thought about the levels of smell, but it is usually warmer up where my head is at, so I have that to contend with as well. But yeah, when I was a kid, I loved monkey bars. I loved fucking monkey bars, swings and climbing on all sorts of shit.
He's like naturally really good at him too, like
when you want to encourage that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know? I'm always telling my kid because he loves American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, like, shit, yeah.
You know, like I know it'll likely never happen, but as I've been getting, you know, healthier, I was like, man, what if one day?
Oh, you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because I was thinking, you know, Elliot, but not like.
I mean, I probably won't, but I fantasize about it.
Brother, I love that fucking like just the fantasy.
Yeah, like just even like just to like try out for it and fail, but just to do it, like I love that show. I think it's a great idea.
I think
you know what I mean
all those. I mean, there's American Ninja Warrior. There's there's a couple
litany different ones
of badass, you know, obstacle course things like
even if I just help train Elliot, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So, well, and just knowing that you have like some crazy ass high aspiration to try to achieve, which is a really good goal to, you know, set for yourself, even if it's not really obtainable. I mean, you can get close to it, and you go, God damn! Look how much I accomplished. Look how much stuff I did.
That's a great point, because I was just tattooing, and actually, I even asked my client if he'd mind if I mentioned him. But he, you know, once I started losing weight, you know, he reached out to me because he's overweight. He was asking me, you know, for pointers and what I was doing, and I'm like, you know, I can tell you what's working, what's not working, but this is new for me. But he started doing it as well, and he came in today. I haven't seen him in 30 days, and he's 15 pounds lighter. And he was telling me some things
like that.
Good
for you, dude. Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, that's amazing to me. That's amazing to me, and I encourage him. I even hook people up. I'm like, I'll tell you what, man, you keep losing that weight, that weight, your tattoos are gonna get a little cheaper. You know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
You know.
Well, these are people in your circle, and that's what's up.
Not everybody gets that treatment.
You actually care about them. You want to see them succeed.
This guy's turning, just like you. This guy turned into a good friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm always kind of like, well, who would I go to a barbecue with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you got clients, but then you got like, you know what? I go eat dinner at this dude's house. You know what I mean? This guy's a good dude.
Yeah.
I care about him. So it made me really happy that he's down 15 pounds, because he came in and, you know, he's like, well, you know, because I'm way thinner, and I'm like, you look good too, man. And I'm not just saying it. And he's like, you know, he's kind of got that only 15 pounds. And I'm like, 15 pounds, dog?
That's epic.
You could be 15 pounds heavier or the same, but you're 15 pounds lighter.
Yeah, on the right trend. You're on the right path.
And that's in 30 days, so that's really good.
I mean, that's unbelievable. That's almost a little too extreme.
Exactly.
So and that's where we were talking about. You don't want to just dehydrate yourself, because you're going to lose a ton of weight by just not drinking water. Right. I have a thing of water right here. I drank 2 mates on my way, and I'll probably end up drinking another 2 quarts of water before I go to bed.
I think I drink more water than I've ever drank in my life, to be honest.
Because
with
your
you.
body's craving it, I bet. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and the healthier you get, the more you're sweating out shit.
I try to drink, I've heard this my whole life, but every time I eat, I'll start out with a big glass of water just to kind of like fill me up a little bit.
I love it. So let me spark something off of this, because I think I've mentioned to you before, when you eat, so when you do eat, you really shouldn't drink water or really any other liquids. Some people do wine, but you shouldn't have any water really 10 minutes before, during,
like
and
saliva?
after. Yeah, until after, because it will dilute your saliva, and it will it will lessen that digestion process, because you really want that saliva to bond to the food. And it's just 10 minutes. I mean, you just
sure.
go, okay, I'm going to have dinner. We're going to have dinner in 10 minutes. So just try to be mindful of not drinking a whole glass of water or something. And it's kind of just, it's the routine that you have to get used to. But once you do it, you'll find that you need less food, because you're actually getting better nutrition from the food that you're taking in.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, all these little things. Like, I love that we live in this world where we can find this knowledge, because I didn't know that. You know what I mean? And I'm sure
I've
a lot of
said
our
it to you
listeners
before,
didn't.
but it wasn't in your world.
Yeah, it's like I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it, but it's just like,
but you're like, bro, I like water to make me feel a little fuller, because I'm kind of fat, which you were. Now you're not. Now you need nutrition. Now you need those calories. So that's something to be mindful of. When you want that fucking fuel, don't go diluting it with water, bro.
Yeah, because your body does this saliva thing. Your body is designed to be the perfect machine. Let it do its job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. And we have such a luxury to have as much water as we have. I mean, most people, there's so many people, a high percentage in the world, don't even have drinkable water, which is why their nutrition levels are horrible and all that stuff. So we're so blessed. So we kind of take it for granted, and we have water right here, right now. Well, yeah, it's awesome, and we need to recognize that that's a blessing and be grateful for it, and treat our water sources as well as possible so that we can sustain them. But at the same time, you don't have to drink water every fucking 10 minutes of every fucking hour, So,
and speaking of that too, like, I was reading this article about, we're just kind of conditioned to be, as soon as you feel hungry, it's like an emergency, and it's like it's not. Hunger is not an emergency. Starvation is an emergency, but just because you feel a little hungry, you don't have to go for the chips. You don't have to go get, that snack that's going to spike your insulin.
Well, and I loved Bill Burr's take on the whole sugar and salt craving thing, and how, if you start that little rabbit hole or that, indulging those cravings, and you start going down that little path, it can really just snowball on you. And you go, shit, man, I just had a couple chips, and now I'm craving some chocolate. Now I want a fucking donut. Now I want some ice cream. And so it really does spiral into this thing where that's
how I live my life. You know what I mean? And I never thought about insulin spikes or anything like that. So my day consisted of, I'd be tattooing, and my wife would show up just to see what I was doing, and to me that was just an extra person that could go get me the donut. You know what I mean? It's like I wasn't even hungry. I just like donuts.
Oh, dude.
You know what I'm saying? I still do. You know what I mean?
And that's one of the wonderful things probably is I don't have that person in my life.
Sure,
otherwise, I
would have
sent them out to go get that donut. I was thinking about Sweet Life today, and those red velvet cake, and I'm
Sweet Life, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I actually have to go to Sweet Life.
Yeah. At least it's a little bit like that's why I don't buy stuff. Like, my house does not have anything like that in it, because I'm in control of myself. But it's so much easier if you got to get up and go get it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But if Oreos are in the cabinet,
so we both follow somebody on Instagram who loves Oreos, and it's funny because when she was like posting, no, I don't even like the single ones, I want like the double stuff. So I was like, touche. I feel you on that. But
why even make this?
Eat those fucking Oreos for us, please. Do it. Let us live vicariously through you and you enjoying those Oreos, because I probably will never have another fucking Oreo in my life.
Not for me for a while.
I'm too picky about what the sweet shit. I will have some red velvet cake from Sweet Life.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite like shitty like junk
cupcakes?
Like Hostess cupcake? Like
no. Like
someone making
like a proper gourmet.
Yeah.
Perfect cupcake. And I had this one that like they replaced the oil, I think the vegetable oil, with applesauce, so it made it even more moist.
Oh, I bet.
Dude, it was like heaven in my mouth.
Right.
What is this magical fucking cupcake? Oh, and she goes,
awesome.
Oh yeah, I ate like 6 of them.
Shit.
I know. Well, when somebody brings cupcakes, I don't make cupcakes. I've looked up the recipe,
Right.
and I've thought about it, and I've made them in my head,
Right,
and I've
right.
enjoyed them, but I've never done it. You know what I'm saying? So when it's like Friendsgiving or
Yeah, yeah.
you know, Nikki's birthday or some other thing where I'm like,
And I think that's a good way it should be. Like, you know, like when it's there at the time, that's okay. Because that's moderation.
and that's
You know
what I
mean?
love.
Yeah.
So and then
You can enjoy it. You can really enjoy it. 'Cause
I
you're like,
really do.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can have 6 fucking cupcakes.
Yeah,
and
'cause
no,
you haven't had
I
one in
burnt-
months.
yeah, and it's not even going to hit my abs. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in this
Exactly.
calorie deficit all the
Yeah.
time.
You know-
So do you want to talk about what our routines have been recently? Because
Yeah.
I want to find out what you've been doing.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people have been asking for both of us. And, you know, one of the things I wanted to kind of say real quick is, you know, I am a super driven person, and you got to be careful with that sometimes, because I did exactly what you and everybody else has warned me about recently, and I overtrained, and I felt some pretty big complications. So just to kind of get a heads up, you know what I mean? Like I had the day off, and it's weird. I woke up and I was like, you know, I've been training every day. I'm going to take a break. And for some reason, saying I'm going to take a break triggered this opposite thing in me where I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to go extra hard. So I went and immediately did 3 miles. And then I was like, well, I'm tired of the treadmill. And I just went for a walk, but I turned right instead of left and just never stopped. And all of a sudden I was 5 miles away from my house. And then I came, you know, so I did like 13 miles, like kind of almost all at once.
You like ran away from home.
I did, yeah. Nikki was like, "Where are you at?" Like,
Yeah.
and I'm taking a picture of where I'm
Jesus
at.
Christ.
And so when I came home, I looked at my phone for my steps, and I had been throughout the day. I had been actively working for 7 hours, almost 7 hours. And I was like, first I was proud, and then all of a sudden I was like, I don't feel so good, and I got really tired. And I went and took a nap, and I haven't taken a nap in a minute, and I couldn't sleep, and I woke up, and I was really out of it, and I was like, I felt a little bit drunk, to be honest with you, and I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean, what's going on? So I test my blood, you know, several times a day. I got up and I tested my blood, and it was super low.
Yeah,
the first
man.
time this has ever happened. My blood's been high. That's, you know, that's the whole problem. And it was like 62, I think. And I looked that up, and it's like right on the border of like you could pass out, coma.
Shit's about to start shutting
Yeah.
down.
So, and I looked up, you know, why, and so intensive exercise can do that as well. So like,
Yeah.
I'm all for anybody getting into shape. I'm all for that drive, but you know, take it from me, I should have listened to people that were everybody's constantly telling me don't overdo it, because they know me and they know that I'm going to go crazy. I did it, and I regretted it. And so
Well-
if you're out there listening and you're excited and driven, like, let's rein it in. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
7 hours workout.
You got to find the balance.
Yeah. I'm not
you know?
Mike Tyson. I mean,
Well,
I mean,
and
it's
this is part of you finding your balance.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you had to hit that wall
yeah,
and go,
because
"Fuck,
until
that's
then,
the low.
Yeah,
That's the
until
low."
that happened, I felt amazing, and I was like, I fucking did, you know, 13 miles.
Props,
you know,
you know,
and, I felt,
Pat,
and then it just
yeah.
hit me like a fucking, you know, and I thought, I'm just tired, but I woke
were
up
tired.
and it was like I noticed I was like a little slower than normal, and I
Yeah.
was like, what's going on? And it was scary.
It was scary, right?
Yeah, it was real scary.
Well,
so.
thank God it was just that,
Yeah.
and not some worse, you know.
I
Like,
know,
where,
right?
You know, pulled a hamstring or some Achilles shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've been worried about for you. Because
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I know
that's
how
what you're mentioning.
gun ho you are, bro.
Yeah,
But-
and to be honest with you, if I couldn't work out, it would fucking suck. So
we're
yeah.
gonna take it slow.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a little chill now. You had that experience, and that's what I mean. You're one of those cats that learns from experience.
Yeah. And,
So-
yeah, I kind of have to do that. Like I know it and I hear it, but I listen to my body and I'm like, I feel good. I feel, you know, just like I said, I always go the same route when I walk, and I just turn the other way and just ended up where you definitely should be driving to, not walking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So I'm like, I'll call my wife and have her pick me up, and then I was like, fuck that, I'm not a pussy. I'm walking back too. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not
Yeah.
a pussy, so you don't have to, you know, check yourself like that. You don't have to pull your own card when you already have fucking done so much.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you know, and that's one thing you definitely want to. I mean, keep it real, and that's where I'm going to continue to try to motivate you. Well, try to get you more and more on the cannabis
Got it,
train,
yeah,
because
sure.
I want you to fucking figure out how to listen to your body.
Right.
You were talking about the dude that checks his blood or what?
Ben Greenfield.
Ben
Yeah, he
Greenfield.
kind of is able, you know, he's got this machine where he can check his blood and all of his levels, and it basically tells him, you know, you really beat your body up yesterday, so today's a yoga day.
And
You know
so
what I mean?
that's
And I love
perfect.
that.
And that's
you know?
perfect way for me to just break into how I listen to my body and then
Yeah.
what my routine is from there.
Yeah.
So we'll start out from like a week. We'll look into a week of my activities.
Okay.
So Mondays, we'll start off my week on Monday. I play ball Mondays. Monday mornings, I try to get to the gym 10:30. So it means I'm eating breakfast probably around 9:30.
Right.
Letting some time to digest. And then after breakfast, I don't even have a mate for like 15 minutes after breakfast.
What's breakfast consist of?
Oh man, bacon and
change up?
eggs.
Yeah.
Bacon and eggs.
Good fats.
Really good bacon. Get my bacon from an amazing butcher here in town. They're high quality meat.
Nice.
It's really good stuff. And then local sourced eggs. My buddies have farms.
Nice.
They're fucking golden, beautiful, delicious eggs. And some potatoes. I do like purple and golden potatoes. Try to get organic stuff. And then fry those in really good organic coconut oil. So
Nice.
that's what I have.
So you're definitely focusing some of the good fats. You're focusing,
Yeah. So, and Himalayan sea salt, that's the other big thing.
I just found out about that.
It's amazing, bro. You need to get on that because
I hear it's got really good benefits.
those minerals are going to help your blood pressure. They're going to help all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I even hear with intermittent fasting, using some of that is really important over just water, like actually mixing some of that in.
Yeah, my uncle's doing that, and it was funny because I was telling him about Himalayan sea salt for a year before his doctors told him to start doing that, and it's been helping him like crazy.
Nice.
And I was like, yeah, I've been telling you to do Himalayan sea salt. That's just a simple conversion you can do. So yeah, people, it's pink, but it's really good stuff. It's more expensive, but it's high quality, and it's like probably, I think, $12 for your normal thing, but it's like going to last you like 6 months.
Exactly.
So you're talking about $13 of really high quality nutrition. So anyways, that's my breakfast, and then a little bit of my smoothie to help wash that stuff down, just a tiny bit. Then I take my vitamins and everything. I take crealkaline, which is a pH buffered form of creatine, and I take 2 pills. That's it before I go work out. And when I'm going to play ball or lift weights, I also take some cordyceps mushrooms, which is like Shroom Tech Sport, which you can get from On It, but I get a different company. Mycos mushrooms, I believe is what they're called. And it's their endurance blend. But that helps with my endurance. It helps boost oxygen levels in my blood and helps me maintain higher levels of activity.
Did it take you a while to you've got this sounds like you've got it really dialed in.
Yeah,
did you just kind of you hear about stuff, you kind of research
heard about
it.
Stuff on podcasts.
Yeah,
I heard about stuff from buddies, dudes who were cut the fuck up.
And I'm assuming too, there's things, people are different, so there's probably things that might be great for you, not necessarily for me, or not necessarily to one of our listeners, and you know what I mean.
Well, our blood types are different,
exactly,
and our activities are different. But at some point, and this is what's crazy about that, is your blood will change by the level of fat that you have in there. And that's Dr. Rhonda Patrick was talking about how people who are clinically obese, so if you're very, very, very heavy, your blood actually mutates. Your genes will mutate to a point where they affect your DNA, and you transfer that to your children if you have children in that time frame while you're that obese. And if you lose that weight, your DNA reverts back to the more healthy form. And then you will give that healthier form of DNA to your children.
That's insane.
Isn't that so? So much of our blood stuff can be changed by what we put in ourselves, and then what activities we do, and what level of health we're at.
Yeah.
So it did take me years about that stuff. A lot of my friends were nutrition experts. I look into that stuff myself, but it's about finding things and augmenting your diet. Remember when we started the abdominal pieces, and I told you, I'm like, well, I'm giving up English muffins.
Oh yeah,
because I was like, I can't rock Carlton pieces on my abs and on my chest and have any type of fluff going on.
Sure.
So it's back to, and it was a really good motivator for me to get my 6, 8, 10 pack back.
Yeah.
So anyways, Mondays I go play ball after about an hour of eating, and then I try to play ball for about 2 to 3 hours. I stretch. I do a little routine, 5 to 10 minute quick warm up stretching routine before I play ball. Then I try to play ball for as long as I can stay on the court and win with my boys. And it's not all about winning. It's about competing and having a good time and sweating. It's my that and fucking are my 2 favorite forms of cardio. My 2 favorite activities in life. So I try to be in the best shape to be able to do both at the highest level. So after I play ball, I go into like the weight room, and I go and I do core stuff usually, because you can work on your core every day. You don't want to overdo it.
Right.
I mean, fuck, man, if you work your core hard enough, you'll get nauseous and you'll
I've heard of people working to like throw up and everything.
Yeah,
like that,
and girls can do it to the point of orgasming, which
wow,
I get jealous of because I never achieved that. But thank God, because I feel like I feel like it's almost I can't get chubby at all at the gym. You would see it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be obscene. I don't even do jumping jacks. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to be obscene. So anyways, so I do that, and then I'll do pull-ups, hanging from pull-up bar to stretch. I stretch a number of different ways. Really try to stretch my back, my legs, and my arms out. Mm-hmm. From playing ball and all that stuff, it always kind of twists me up. So I try to spend time, unwinding my body, getting back to a really nice stable point. And then I do a few yoga stances and stretches to really tie everything together at the end. Nice. And that's basically it, man. And then I go home and I live, my life, go on walks, do whatever else I want to do.
You stay pretty active in general. You know what I
mean?
mean?
Well, with that, so a Tuesday are usually like my squats days. I'll try to do squats on a Tuesday, which different leg routines today. Today I did squats, and today's Thursday. I did a couple of Hungarian or Bulgarian squats. Right. I do several sets of those. That's one-legged squats with one of your legs elevated behind you. Man. I do those on a Smith rack. Yeah, they're rough.
Yeah,
but I feel so much stronger and better after I do those. And then I do regular squats on a Smith rack, back-loaded squats. But it's all about having as good a form as I can and being as strong as I can. Yeah. So I always listen to my body as I'm doing those things. And if something's wrong with my form or something, I'll completely stop, breathe, stretch, do what I got to do, get on a foam roller. I usually don't have to do any of that stuff. I usually am pretty good.
Breathing is so important too. Just learning how to, that can do so much for you, just breathing the right way.
And, I got onto breathing from that, from the monks and stuff, watching that. And then, you look at Wim Hof, who's a bad motherfucker. And he was a 33-year-old white guy, or 34 or 35 when he decided to learn how to breathe.
Right.
Completely changed his life, changed your levels of depression, and he's changing the world and all these athletes' lives and stuff by teaching people how to breathe. Yeah. Oh, are you going to teach me how to fucking breathe? That thing I've been doing my whole life?
It's like, I got that. But I was really struggling with running. I was walking everywhere. I started walking at a brisk pace, and when I started doing high intensity intervals, I really needed to put some running in there, and I was really struggling. And to be honest with you, it was the breathing.
Yeah.
Once I started breathing right, for me to go 7 miles an hour is fast right now. But I didn't even think I could do that. And now it's no problem. I'll go a minute slower, go to 7, you know what I mean? But the breathing changed everything for me.
So have you been working on your breath work?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm definitely, breathing nice deep breaths. I'm very very conscious of myself and not just, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm really slowly.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just being conscious of what your ribs are doing.
Exactly.
Those wind machines that you have, it's oh, okay, well, I need to focus on expanding the lower part. So,
yeah, I think I was just,
spread those lowers.
Open it up. Yeah.
When you were talking, when you were man, you sit so well while I'm doing your stomach, I can barely tell. Well, it's because I'm expanding my lower rib cage. Right. I'm breathing through my back. Right. I try to make it as solid of a palate for you to be able to do your work.
Right, which really helps because tattooing a stomach is incredibly difficult.
And it sucks. It sucks, bro. Your fucking ribs suck. Your stomach sucks. All of it's not fun. But and I want to be able to sit as well as possible, and so I don't want to sit there and get hyperventilated and short breath. Oh fuck, this sucks.
Yeah,
it's I'm going to take deep, calm breaths.
Yeah, once I'm tattooing somebody and they start clenching their fist and squeezing their t-shirt, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah,
it's all about the opposite.
That first time I had my first rib piece, which was 2 years before I ever had you do a rib piece. The homie beat me up, man. Yeah. It was
you'll get to a point where there's no turning back.
I dislocated a rib. Well, it was one session. It was 5 hours long. I didn't know, how long it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And in the first 2 minutes, I was like, "This is the worst mistake of my life." But we're in for the long haul. And if he stops here, it's just going to be this really shitty, tiniest bit of an outline.
Fuck.
We need to do this. Man up. So I did man up, and I got to that point. I clenched so hard on top of his table. I was in the fetal position just like, fuck, just trying to breathe, but hurting. Didn't have food too. That was, my blood sugar was low,
Yeah. Just
and you know how much I need my smoothies. This was pre-smoothie era, so I didn't have that sugar right there, which would have helped a ton. And he wasn't cool with weed either, so I think I had to like smoke right before when I got there.
Right, yeah.
So then fucking, I went home and the piece looked amazing and everything, but I hurt. I couldn't even breathe. And when the adrenaline kicked out, I really couldn't breathe. And I was like,
what's going on?
Oh, what the fuck's going on? Oh, fuck. And it was a rib dislocated. And so it took me about an hour and a half of like folding into different positions and like doing this shit and like trying to power breathe. And I got on a foam roller and I was like laying out and just fucking trying to force that rib out. And finally it popped. But I was at the point where I'm like, okay, ER by the end of the night.
Yeah, right. It's good it didn't turn you off to tattoos. You know what I mean?
It did for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw Zach with that sick ass piece right here. Remember?
So when you came in that day, were you like?
Because Zach knew I had that sick ass piece on, my sick rage piece on my side, my Anarchy A. And he was like, "Man, did that hurt?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro. I'm not ever going to have anybody do my ribs ever again." And he goes, "Well, check out this sick piece I had Josh Carlton doing." Oh, who's that? And then he whips out that amazing piece. And I was like, "What the fuck, dude? That looks so real. And it's on your ribs?" And he was like, "Yeah, man. And it didn't even hurt." I was like, "What the fuck? Okay. Well, where's this guy at?" And that's when I
always have tried to be like, people say light-handed, but I guess I always looked at it as like they're needles. Like, why are you pushing really hard and all this? Cause
and they do penetrate by themselves.
That's the machine's job.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, and the frequency that you set for them and stuff. And I've told you, and I communicate with all my artists. Yeah. Hey, bro, can you kick that down to a different vibe? If it's really aggressive and it's not, my skin will let me know.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah.
So on Wednesdays, I play ball. Sorry, trying to
Thursdays you play ball?
Thursday, no, it's Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays I play ball.
Okay.
And that's when I do the same type of core stuff and yoga stuff. And then Thursdays, since I try to do squats on like a Tuesday, if I do squats on a Tuesday, I won't do them on a Thursday. I'll wait till Saturday. So I'll try to have like a 4-day stretch between squats. But on Thursday, I'll do my chest and my back.
Okay.
And it's real lightweight stuff. I'm using like bands and like really, really, really lightweight free weight stuff. Just working on range of motion.
Yeah.
And trying to be strong with stuff. I do a lot of pull-ups, a lot of different versions of pull-ups and chin-ups and stuff.
I think anything that involves using your own weight is a great, really.
Excuse me. And I'm 190 pounds right now. So since last year, when I really got motivated to get my shit to this next level. And it was because I was starting to feel like I could do that.
Yeah.
I've gained like about 9 pounds of nice lean muscle, which is really, really good for me. I feel like that's probably the perfect amount. Obviously it is, because that's how much I put on, and I was smart about how I did everything. But I was like almost overly cautious about how much muscle I was going to put on and everything, because I didn't want to throw any unhealthy weight on myself, because I love those activities.
And I've seen that. I've seen these people that will really stack on the weight and stack on the muscle, and then when they don't follow up that maintenance, they just get that dad bod. You know
dude. And that's so you could blow up if you were like, okay, I've hit my goal weight. Now I'm going to start doing some yoga, which you need to do.
Yeah, because like right now it's all been about just getting thinner. So now we're getting close to the time where it's going to start being much more.
And your goal has been this number, which is a weight.
Exactly.
And that's been an amazing, really good motivator for you and something to chase towards.
And that's coming to an end, so it's starting to
get
now the new journey.
Your goal is going to have to be something where you're just going to have to envision it in your brain and go, okay, I want to be happy and healthy and strong. What's that going to look like? So visualize that for yourself. You said you want to have a 6-pack. So getting yourself to a state where you can, get the core strong as fuck. You're going to have to start doing core work pretty much every day.
Yeah, which I hate.
I know.
Most of the stuff I kind of don't mind, but the core stuff fucking kicks my ass.
Well, and that's where it's really good that you're disciplining yourself now, because you're going to have to take that next step. And so you're going to be able to say, look, man, this really ain't shit, because I've already done a lot of hard work. So this is just getting me to that next level of stuff. And I'm looking that much better. I hadn't seen you for like 11 days. And you already looked a lot skinnier and thinner. Because you're thinner, because you look good. So it's not like an unhealthy look.
It's weird as the number, like technically the number I originally just randomly guessed I hit a few days ago.
Yeah.
And that day was a weird day because like I thought I'd be super excited, but I kind of just didn't know what to do with myself.
I know. Now
know what
what?
I mean?
Now
Yeah,
what?
I was like,
cupcake,
I know,
fucking
right?
cake,
Yeah.
sit-ups. What am I supposed to be doing? I don't really know.
Yeah, so I decided, I was like, well, clearly I was wrong. I feel better, but it's not quite right. So then I just decided I'll just focus on like a pound at a time for right now.
Which way? Down?
Down, yeah.
Okay.
Like,
because you're going to, when you start lifting or getting healthier,
Yeah, then it's
it
gonna
goes
go.
up. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, okay, it's
that's
not going to
where-
be a number for you anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
Once you hit that, there's a plateau.
Yeah.
And it's where
what did you say you gained how much?
9 pounds.
Yeah.
Which I had it to gain, man. It's in
Right.
it's in my butt. It's
Yeah.
in my upper body and my back.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to keep my chest as small as possible, and my arms will get a lot bigger because, like I said, I was 230 at my biggest. I'm 190 now, so my
That's so
frame
hard
can
for me to
frame
even
can
picture.
handle a
Right.
ton
Right.
of more muscle on it, but I don't need it, man.
Yeah.
It's not it's not what I look for, but I do like building my butt, so
Right.
that's what I am, and I do want to have probably my goal weight would probably be like 205.
Yeah.
But if I feel like I'm too bulky when I'm playing ball, or I
Yeah,
start
yeah.
hurting, if I can only like play ball without being in pain because
Yeah.
my joints or something, like, then I'm gonna have to back off, and I'm gonna listen to myself about that, man.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
It's really
It
important.
sounds like you got like a smart way of looking at maintaining it the right weight, what you want, the lean muscle, you know what I mean, lean gains. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also aesthetic because I care about what the fuck I look like.
Right.
So that's, my abs are just, when you start to see abs, you just get that much more motivated.
Right.
It's just like when your dick peeks out over behind your belly as you slim that thing down, and you're like,
well,
oh, that's awesome. Well, I like the look of that.
Right.
And then you start building that up, and so you do get those motivators and everything. So it is there, but it's you got to be smart about it. So today when I was getting ready and warming up on the AMT machine at the gym, I was thinking, man, I would love to have Josh with me next, because I want him to start understanding this is kind of like,
Right.
this is sustainable, because going to the mall and just walking around the mall to get your steps in and stuff isn't going to be a challenge.
Yeah,
That's not.
that's why I kind of think I turned that other direction, because I was like, I have been doing the same thing so much. Plus, your body gets used to it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So,
And you really want to be working on the balls of your feet too.
Right.
You don't want to just be walking on flat surfaces and stuff. You want to be doing incline things. You want to actually be out there activating different muscles and stuff. So you're got a nice general overall health and strength to you.
Right.
And that's where I'm also like, man, we could do like 10 minutes on this and then go hit some yoga mats, then do some stretching. There's like,
mixing
I
it
want to
up
get
like
you into
that
that gym life.
Right.
So you can experience all of that stuff and then just go crazy with it and figure out what works for you, because
Sure.
that is the best way. And there's so much high tech equipment out there and everything that when you figure out, this is what I like to do.
Right.
Today I'm going to do this, or tomorrow I'm going to do that. Then it really just makes it that much more simple, because it's all right there.
Yeah, just finding a good routine that
Yeah.
works
And
for
then
you.
having stuff at home that you can do too.
Yeah.
When you don't want to go to the fucking gym.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that a lot of mostly it's my clients. I'm always telling my clients as soon as I start tattooing them, I'm like, look, I'm going to talk a lot about health. Sorry, but they're always excited. It's just it's on my mind, But if they're not ready to, you'll notice that you'll talk to them about the gym or whatever, and it's like a lot of excuses. You know what I mean? Like you can tell they're just not ready. I wasn't ready before my diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. But once you start, it's really not only easier, but I have fun with it. You know what I mean? I have fun. I mean, obviously, once you start seeing results.
Well, and it's
You
a
know what I'm
positive thing.
Yeah,
So that's
and it's a positive thing. Like, little things come with it. Like, when my 9-year-old hugs me and goes, "You're so much thinner." It's like, it feels good to know that that's the role model now.
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
You have no idea, like,
And that was like an unexpected, like,
Exactly.
because
The
kids
positive-
will just say whatever. So he would tell me I was fat too. You know what I mean?
and
So
I know for a fact Elliot looks up to you
absolutely.
like none other. I mean, I know one of the classmates of his, and so I had a behind the scenes look at how Elliot looks at you
Right.
from somebody who didn't even know that we knew each other, and she was like, yeah, my friend Elliot has a really cool dad. He's a tattoo artist. So I knew instantly who she was talking about.
Right.
I was like, oh man, that's pretty much the coolest, best artist in the world. And she went, you know him? And I was like, yeah, I know him.
That's funny.
No way you know Elliot. Yeah, I know Elliot. And she goes, yeah, he wants to be a tattoo artist just like his dad. And I said,
awesome.
Of course he does, because his dad's the shit. So he's going to want to be just like his dad.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, it's wonderful to hear that from an artistic, but it's so new to hear about it from a health point of view. So it's like,
which is just as important.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like already like, because he's a kid, I let him kind of have a much more free range, but we've definitely cut down on sugar and stuff for our children as well. But like we let them be kids.
Yeah.
But we've definitely cut down.
Yeah.
And it's like, not only do I just feel better as a parent, you know what I mean? But I'm not starting him on this path of where my father had diabetes, I have diabetes, and he's certainly in line to get it. So
yeah, you're not condoning that.
Exactly. Just like I wouldn't let him watch cartoons for 9 hours. I'm not going to let him just eat junk.
Good job.
I do let him be a kid, of course. I'm not going to be
like
nothing. You know what I mean? But so that's really nice.
Well, and letting them be a kid is cool, but you just want to make sure that they're healthy. You don't want them to, get to a point where they're getting unhealthy with their weight.
We don't want to have to get to like where we have to, reactively handle it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, well now he's, because he's a kid, he's in fine shape and everything. You know what I mean? Take him to the doctor, he's fine. But he loves sweets. You know what I mean? He's just like me. You know what I mean? He would eat it all day long if he could. You know what I mean? So,
I believe it, man. We all would.
Yeah. So just like teaching him about better food, and he's learning that he loves that. There's some really good foods out there, and he really loves them.
Sweet.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, smoothies are a great one
avocado,
for those young kids. Oh man, I wish I had liked avocado when I was younger. I'm such an avocado fiend now, but I didn't get into it till I was late, like teens.
I hear so much controversy about eggs because it's like I hear they're the best thing you can eat, and then I'll hear that that you shouldn't eat them. You know what I mean? And it's like you always get that, and that sucks because I love eggs.
Then that's all that matters.
Eggs, yeah.
I
love them. I love you know what I mean. Like
eggs don't treat me wrong.
No, and again, going back to listening to your body. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
What happens? And
certain eggs I don't like. Some of them just aren't that tasty, depending on whatever they're feeding the chickens or whatever.
Yes.
That's why I like the ones I get from my boys' farms and stuff. And my buddies that they have those wild ones that just roam and do their thing and lay some eggs.
I think it's, we're lucky here. We can have chickens. I think that if you were to see kind of how some of these chickens are treated that you buy from the store, you definitely would not want to buy.
Yeah, you wouldn't want those eggs. Those are probably some really stressed out, not even that nutritious eggs. So it makes sense. But we're in that mecca of really good food, really good organic produce, all sorts of stuff.
Kind of like you're saying with water, like we're fortunate. We have access, especially here in Oregon and Eugene especially, we have access to everything organic. We have one of the best farmers markets here. You know what I mean? So
and even one of my buddies who's from Southern California, and he was talking about how good our water is here. He's like, bro, I can't drink enough of the water here. It's just so fucking... I was like, right, dude? I know. It's like
if I ever move, it's going to take 3 filters at least to even come close to what we got.
Don't even talk about that. I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah.
I actually do have to take a piss, though. Is it cool? Do you want to just jam on doing your thing?
Yeah, take your break. I'm gonna talk about some funny things that I've noticed as I've gotten thinner, some funny things that have happened, some anecdotal things that have happened to me that I had no idea about. And one of them is I've always ran hot just being a bigger guy. I've always everybody would complain that they were cold, and no matter what, I was always warm. And I'm cold as fuck all the time. Like I swear it'll be 80 degrees outside and I'm chilly. It's just like, obviously as the fat's coming off of me, it makes complete sense, but it was just something that I just didn't really put together. And now I'm just always cold. Sitting here in this t-shirt even, I'm like, man, I wish I would have brought a hoodie. But that and like sitting down and tattooing, like my butt's bony now. So like I never had a problem with that before, but just as you lose fat, apparently I lost it off my butt too, which I couldn't afford. I have the flattest ass. I don't even have an ass. I have just extend a back. So, that, but one of the good things is just an overall general feeling better and lighter. Like just, you've heard me talk a lot about being depressed in the past, and I don't want to say I've cured my depression because it's just too early to tell, but for 2 months now, I haven't even had one negative thought. All I think about is how lucky I am and how happy I am with my life, my family, my marriage, my work, my studio. I feel energized and enlightened to do the best tattooing I could possibly do. I just feel a certain clarity that I've never felt before. And honestly, just an overall appreciation of being alive. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're having a hard time getting motivated and you want to get on this weight loss journey, it is so much more than losing weight. You know, that's what in the beginning, that's all I wanted was like, if I'm just thinner, if I'm thin, everything will be okay. I'll reverse my type 2 diabetes and, you know, I'll be thin. And it's like, honestly, like, it's not even about that anymore. Of course, that's a perk. And of course, I'm super happy to be trimming down. I know I've got a ways to go, but, you know, I'm 35 pounds lighter than I was when I started out. And if I had known years ago, just the good feeling, because I'm going to get real personal here with you. Those that know me know this, but there were times in my past that I was like, fuck it, I'm going to end it all. I did think about suicide. Looking back, that's hard to say. It's a little embarrassing to say. It didn't matter my success. It didn't matter that I was this well-known tattoo artist and clients flew in from all around the world. I couldn't see any of that success. I just hated myself. I hated myself with a deep passion that's difficult to understand unless you suffer from depression. And the best thing that ever happened to me was getting this diagnosis, because it made me get in shape. And I just, not only do I not feel like that, it's very difficult for me to imagine even what that felt like. It's a distant memory from a lifetime ago. I wish that I could explain to you how much of a difference that makes. So if you are on that journey, weight loss is wonderful, but the feeling you're going to have, the overall feeling of inner peace and happiness outweighs it tremendously. On a good note too, I also have a lot more energy. I find that I'm usually full of energy, extremely eager to come to work. I love tattooing more than I have. I've been tattooing 28 years, and I literally get up like a kid, and I'm like just giddy to come to work. You know what I mean?
Dude, I would be giddy to come to work if I were you too.
Right?
Because I mean, you're always getting to do awesome shit.
Yeah, I'm incredibly like I've earned it, but I'm incredibly lucky. Like, I posted a tattoo I did yesterday of this girl with a bloody face, and the guy drove 8 hours to get here, and I'm at that point in my career where he just says, I've got this much money and I want you to do either a skull or a girl. I'm like,
that's in your wheelhouse.
That's my dream shit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, dude.
And it's
with
nice.
Some blood.
Yeah. And it was cool because usually I have to like ask people like I know you got Tesla on your arm, but what if he was bloody? You know what I mean?
Word.
So,
it makes, I would have been down with some shit like that.
Right. But, it's nice because as a tattooer, when somebody's guiding you, they mean the best, you know what I mean? But when they're like, I want you to do this, like, it doesn't quite end up being, for me, it doesn't quite end up being my absolute best work, because I'm always questioning, man, I kind of want to do this shading, but what if they don't want that? Mm-hmm. And when you can really just do, I know tattoo artists will totally understand this, or painters, when you can really, really do you, I feel like that's the best work that comes out of that. You know what I mean? And I feel like yesterday was a good example of that. You always let me do my thing on you. And I always try to, even though I know you totally have trust in me, I just communicate with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, here's why I'm doing this, and this makes sense to me. You know what I mean? But that's why you're covered in some of my favorite tattoos.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. That's part of why you're my main artist, is because you do collaborate with me. You go, what do you think about this? And I go, yeah, man. And then can we do the leaves in green?
Exactly.
And then,
and that's perfect, because ultimately it's your tattoo. I might have this grand idea, and I'm always very good at, like, I'll put a stencil on you and I'll straight up be like, you know what? This looks stupid. I thought this was going to look cool, and it doesn't fit on your arm right.
I've said it before too, with that gorilla you did on my pec.
Yeah, did we move it or change? Yeah,
it was too small. And then you were like, well, what do you think? And and I was like, I'd rather his face take up my whole fucking pec. Yeah. So that's what it does.
Yeah.
As opposed to it being like,
yeah, and it would have been
big.
And it would have been cool, but now it's way cooler, and it's like halfway done. So
yeah, and it fit perfectly. Right. And I even said that, I was like, no, can we bring it up like 20% more? And I kept both stencils because I was like, I like both of these.
Yeah, if I put a stencil on somebody, and if I have to kind of sit there and question it, 90% of the time it's not ready yet.
Word.
You know what I mean? That's why I do one tattoo a day, because I want to be able to not have to be like, man, I got a 6 o'clock. Like, I want to be able to be like, check it out, go grab some fucking sushi and let me redo this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
well, it's funny because the first time on the first piece you did on me, my Burning Monk, you did the placement, and I wasn't really cool with the placement, but I didn't say anything to you because it was my first time meeting you, and I didn't want to be bitching. Like, hey, yeah, can you go up higher, match more of my other one? So it's more, you were just like, this looks like it's going to be the good spot. And that's what you did. And so when I went home, first off, the first session, it didn't look like anything.
Right.
It was a Rorschach. It was a part of a Rorschach.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
And then the second time, it was a complete Rorschach.
Right.
And then the third time, it was a Burning Monk.
Right.
And then it developed into more and more amazing depth. But it was one of those things where I was like, oh, now we have space to do the sacred geometry that you talked about.
Yeah, a lot of times I have these plans in my head, and I can generally tell, like, this isn't his only tattoo. Like, he's going to be down once I have a vision that I can share. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which sometimes I have to remember that, like, I might have this vision in my head that seems amazing, but if I don't tell you, like, I forget that we're not all an artist. You know what I mean? So,
and that did take 4.5 years to develop.
Right.
But I was so pleased that we had the perfect space to do that. And I mentioned that to you when you were like, okay, now let's get the stencil for this. And we fucked around with that for a while because, it was the shape of...
It was too small also at the beginning.
It was too small. I was like, no, we need to go big, bro. We need to actually have it like perfect. And it lined up perfectly how you did it and then how it came out. Amazing. But if you hadn't put that monk where it was, it wouldn't have had any of that space.
Exactly.
So it came out amazingly perfect. And for some reason, you just knew, like, I'm going to put this right here.
I think that's just years of experience on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then...
because stomachs will fuck you up. Like, I'll see a tattooer that feels confident, and they'll go tattoo someone's stomach, and man, they're like, oh shit, I'm fucking starting from square one. Like, it will, if you're a new tattoo artist and you think you got your shit together, tattoo a stomach.
Do a round piece on
do a
somebody's
circle,
stomach.
do a perfect circle
with a lot of sacred geometry, so those crisp lines in multicolors.
Yeah.
It really, that's art, bro. Yeah. That's art. So, hey, beyond health stuff, let's get into maybe a little conspiracy talk.
It's funny because I love conspiracy talk. It's one of my favorite things to talk to my clients about. And I hope my clients don't mind me talking about this, but I was tattooing a couple days ago, great client. And the whole, like, your phone listening to you thing came up, and I was talking about how, like, if you don't think your phone's listening to you, I mean, I'm sorry, but it is. It just is. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, today, and there was a perfect example, my client's son is type 1 diabetic, and he was, we were talking about this pump that they have in them, and their phone can scan it all day long. They can see the blood sugars all day up and down, right? But he mentioned the name of it, right? I'm not typing anything in my phone. I'm tattooing, listening to music on Spotify, right? He leaves, and I get on to text you to tell it to come in a little early for the podcast, and boom, an ad pops up for the exact monitor.
I've noticed that shit before too.
Yeah, and I immediately texted him, and I'm like, I didn't type anything to my phone, and he just texted back, holy fuck.
That's the world we live in.
It happened
immediately. And if you don't think that isn't completely, possible, let alone going on, just think about how my phone doesn't do it anymore, but for 2 years, Apple transcribed my voice messages into text. So when I would press I didn't even do it. I didn't say convert this. It just did it.
Really?
And so it was converting it over into text, which is totally easy.
Sure.
And that's so simple to store as data, as just ones and zeros. Yeah. So if you think that they can't put that on a tiny, tiny chip in a huge mainframe and just store every little bit of information that you're sharing, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, Zuckerberg is in a lot of trouble right now with some of that stuff. And I remember one of the questions point blank to him was, so if I'm walking down the street and I'm telling my wife that I'm interested in buying a Toyota, are you telling me that my phone is not listening to me for ads? And he said, it's not that simple. He didn't say no. You know what I mean?
Way to skirt the issue.
Exactly. So anyway, back to that original client, he told me, because I always start out, I'm like, I don't want to get too conspiracy because you never know, kind of gauge him out, right?
Yeah, right.
And he was like, oh man, he's like, I got a smart TV, and he goes, I cover the screen up at night.
So that's because they have a camera on it, right?
Exactly.
I have a 3D television. It's 4 years old, 5 years old now, I think. It's a badass television. It's better than
I remember when 3D was like all the huge thing.
The shit. It's better than 4K.
Yeah, because I remember getting the new ones, and the glasses were really good, right? They got the shutter in them and stuff.
Yeah,
and it was super nice. It kind of died
battery
out,
operated.
Super nice 3D. Yeah,
yeah. You can still buy 3D televisions. They're just 3,500 and up because they're that good.
Yeah,
I have a ton of fucking 3D movies. That's all I watch them. But I mean the clarity on that and the picture and the resolution is amazing. It's better than 4K. It's as good as 4K, if not better, and it doesn't make shit look cheesy or like fakeish, even though it's real. Yeah, it's weird. So I love the quality, and everybody who sees my TV, they're like, "Man, this is badass." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's it's 5 years old, but it's a 3D television. It was expensive when it came out." And so I got the one that was the older model, because the newer one had a fucking camera on it, and they're like, "Yeah, bro, for $300 you can have the brand new model, but it does have a a camera on it and everything." I was like, "Fuck you and that camera and the $300 extra, all that bullshit. I want that cheaper one for all these reasons. I like it that much more."
Like at first when he told me he covered his, like, I'll be honest, like at first I kind of was like, "Wow, this guy really," and then I was like, "Well, fuck."
I cover my laptop camera.
Well, yeah.
Because all I'm doing is jerking off on there.
I used to always say that. I'd be like, well, if the government's watching me, I hope they like jacking, because that's happening.
Dude, and it reminds me of that South Park episode. What is it? Reverse Cowgirl, where it's the kid doesn't put the toilet seat up for his mom. She falls in, breaks her hips, dies and shit. And so then the TSA starts fucking monitoring the toilet seat stuff. And so you have to start buckling in on the shit. Remember, Randy or whoever it is, I think it's Randy, comes and he gets assisted, and she goes, Sir, we need to check your asshole, sir. Sir, we need to. And he goes, "I'm a big boy. I can wipe my own ass. I'm a big boy." "Yeah, you're a big boy." I
came into... Like, I watched South Park like way back in the beginning, and then there was a huge time I didn't watch it, and then you turned me back onto it. And
this last season,
it got so much better.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was always funny, but then it just got like fucking. They went hard.
Well, they keep it as real as any motherfucker. In Hollywood, and it's a cartoon, but they put that shit out every week. That's what's amazing about it. So when they're doing it,
like a time
it takes
crunch
them 4 days to make that episode. They're so brilliant. So they take all the current event stuff, everything that's fucked up in the world or in our society, that they can try to tie it into an episode, and then stretch that out with other storylines.
And that way they're super
per season.
Current.
And then they'll tie that in season after season and shit. Yeah. Dude, this last season was amazing. Those last 2 episodes, are you fucking kidding me?
I think this last season was some of the absolute
best. My God, that PC Principal finding love with Strong Woman, and the fucking Hootie and the Blowfish song, With a Little Love. I mean, I was just dying, bro. And then they had the whole Stranger Things didn't I send you like a clip of that or something? I was like, I saw Stranger Things in it too. Oh fuck. But I love them because they don't hold punches. They'll fucking let them fly. Doesn't matter who you are.
I'm always like, holy shit, I can't believe they let them get away with this. But why they're making them so much money?
They called Caitlyn Jenner out right away. For being amazingly beautiful and attractive, but for running over somebody in her fucking car. Buckle up, buckaroo. Like, can we keep it real?
Right.
And I was so livid over the fact that Caitlyn Jenner got that most inspirational person of the year in sports or whatever it was, when she outed or pushed off the person who was going to get it was a woman, I believe, that had survived some horrific form of cancer.
I do remember that.
And I was just like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So but I'm not going to get into the semantics of it. I recognize anybody's choice to live in the body in any way that you want to.
Yeah.
That is not in question. But where we go as a society in trying to prop that up or support that, beyond looking at the realistic stuff, are you a good actual person?
Sure,
or are you somebody that's just a popular figure in society that's going to get a lot of attention and be a cash cow for a while? If you have great intentions and you're a good person and you do everything that's right and you're a Mother Teresa type person, then fucking you deserve everything that comes to you. And if you're not, then people are going to talk shit.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that they took that more so, and we're just like, this is a cash cow, this is a media reality show, all that.
Isn't that whole family? The whole family that's what they are. It seems like they're just this entity that is about
They completely focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah, drama. Yeah. And then it sucks because all these other people out in the world look up at them as role models.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is not what to aspire to. Right. That is not what to try to look like. That's not what to try to be. A fucking porn star? Are you kidding me?
Sure.
And then all of the other shit on top of that. I don't knock the hustle. The hustle is amazing. So that the entrepreneurial sense.
I've read recently that the Kardashians have the most influence over America right now. It's
100%, man. And Kim's probably the most recognizable woman in the world.
Crazy.
In the world.
Wow.
A porn star.
Yeah.
That's the world in a nutshell, brother. That is exactly what we got going on. So when people talk about this is the end of times, this is Revelations is here and everything. I understand where you're coming from, but don't buy into that shit wholeheartely either. Right. I got totally, brainwashed by the Christian mechanism and the whole religion beast, growing up and everything, and really tried to make sense of the Bible. Really try to make sense of other religions as well and try to fit all those together. Why are all these, conflicting ideologies going on? And what is, what's the right, when you're looking at theology, what's the right religion? How do you choose that? I mean, how do you, it's subjective.
Yeah.
So it's why all this division? And then all of that, trying to put that big puzzle together. I think that's part of the matrix. That's part of this huge grand scheme that I call, the system or the matrix or whatever you want to call it. That's this mechanism and this grand web of conspiracies that govern our world and keep us enslaved and keep us down and keep us, at a level of servitude, keep us, being basically Duracell batteries or other forms of energy that you want to, any type of metaphor you want to describe.
Yeah, well said. That same exact client, you could tell that he was kind of poking to see where I was at too. And he was like, you ever think we might just be living in the Matrix? And I'm kind of like, we need to get you on the podcast, man. You know what I mean? And he, he talked a lot about Elon Musk, saying that it not only is it possible but probable that it's happening right now. And this is Elon Musk. You know what I mean? So
it's mean like a simulation theory thing?
Yes.
Well, that's where so a matrix by matrix. So not exactly. I don't mean like being plugged into something and being in a completely different spot, like in a digital space. I mean like. By matrix, I mean like a system of programs. Yeah. And say religion is a program. Right. Government's a program, and each government in the world, and then the overall bodies that work with those and try to get those NATO, all these other governing bodies that try to tie other corporations together. Right. Corporations. All of that stuff, the things that keep us from being kind of tribal nomadic peoples living in harmony with the rest of the world and the rest of society, instead of we're this greedy, possession based. Not everybody in the world is, but at least our society, we're materialistic. We look at what can we get to make us happy, and it's usually an item. It's usually some sort of object. It's going to be maybe a house, maybe it's a car. Maybe it's a degree, a diploma.
Well, they used to be keeping up with the Joneses. Now it's keeping up with the Kardashians. You know what I mean?
Isn't that fucking crazy, bro?
When do you think it started to get so corrupt? Like, I'm assuming at some point, you know what I mean, everything was smoother. Like,
well, there's many theories about that. I'm of the belief, and I'm so hardcore into history, that I think that human civilization, we're getting deep real quick, but human civilization has been started and stopped, and by stopped I mean there have been extinction level events to wipe out the mass population off the face of the earth.
This has happened multiple times,
several times, and there's a lot of evidence that kind of supports that theory, but there's a lot of lack of evidence that really goes in to show hardcore concretely when and how that happened. But when you look at certain buildings and places that are really uninhabited now, like ancient stone structures that have been vitrified, meaning heated, superheated to a point. Usually a nuclear blast would have to be, or some sort of like meteor type impact, which is a nuclear type of a reaction as well. Then you're like, okay, some sort of high level weapon or something was used here, but it wasn't modern. So when the fuck did that happen? Then you also look at these ancient civilizations that have documentation. I mean, India. So India, I mean, there's over 1 billion people there, and there's been people there for a long fucking time, you know, and they have documentation going back saying that their civilization originated over 50,000 years ago. The Bhagavad Gita is amazing, and it's one of the best religious manuscripts that you'll ever find, and a really great, enlightening, you know, like religious ethos. But you can go across all of Asia and see all sorts of structures and the stuff that's off in the oceans too, especially the stuff that's off the Sea of Japan, and then also in the off of the coast of India, that's like between 60 and 200 feet below the sea level. I mean, we're talking about amazing palaces and other things that had to have existed and been built at a time where the water levels were much lower on Earth, which we're talking tens of thousands of years ago.
Yeah, so there's definitely things that just don't add up. And like, I mean, I remember seeing documentaries on, like you were saying about with the heating, that there was stones that were cut so perfectly to fit inside of other spaces.
Machu Picchu.
Yes, like that would be very difficult. Even you know, we could do it now, but then
we look at them and we're like, that's beautiful, that's crazy. You know, it's amazing how they found one stone that just fit perfectly with this other. No, they didn't find that shit. They took a goddamn lightsaber or something, and then they used some sort of anti-gravitational, you know, device or some form of telekinesis or something to put those things into place. Because when you're looking at these these massive monoliths and these other stones that make foundations, there's no way that even our modern technology and cranes can put some of these things into place. And so you're like, how did they do that?
Yeah, it was so long ago.
It wasn't rolling stuff on logs, man. It wasn't hemp ropes.
Well, and then also
massive slave power.
Most of the time you see these things too, whatever marble they have was from very far away too. So not only, even if you just had it in your backyard, it's incredible, but it came from so far away.
Dude, there's so much evidence out there that there was a level of technology that existed in the past that it's not accounted for now. And you know, when you talk about the burning of Alexandria and then Solomon's libraries and all these things, we're talking about places that were known for having knowledge, for having history there. Okay, this is what happened. We're explaining the past, and knowledge is power. So if you want to have power in this world, gaining knowledge is one of the best ways. I mean, that's why I love podcasts and the sharing of information. Knowledge is power for me. It's not, you know, I'm not trying to dominate the world. I'm not an egomaniac, but I am trying to live harmoniously in my own being and in my own state, and work with the world around me and stuff, and figure this shit out. You know, what is the meaning of life? It's not one of those things that I think is an impossible question. I think that there's tools and evidence around us to help us gain that knowledge.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer. I mean, every day we're learning new knowledge, that things that we just never even thought we'd be able to figure out. Even look at some of the AI stuff going on today. You know what I mean?
guess that shit trips me out, bro. Like, I want a Skynet tattoo because, you know, and I mean,
that would be badass.
I mean, I'm Sean King, brother. Get that one on the game plan. Let me know when you got time. Skynet, I think right here above my wrist is going to fit. Spot. Yeah, nice little pyramid, the original fucking logo.
You know, if you guys want to join our conversation as well, like, you know, we release the podcast originally through an app called Anchor, anchorfm.com, I believe, if you go on the internet. But if you just download the free app from Anchor, you can actually go and find our podcast, and you can send us a message. You just hit record. You just ask us a question. You and I will go through them, and let's get some of our listeners' questions.
Yeah, man. The interaction.
The last podcast we put out had over 1,000 listeners, which is amazing. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, we want to hear some questions. Some of the stuff we're talking about, like join in on our conversation. So
yeah, I know everybody has, you know, questions about religion and
let's spark some stuff. Like, I want to learn some stuff from you guys. I want to talk about this stuff, and I love how you can do that. You know, it's kind of like calling in.
And like, what I mean? And me and Joshua, we were going to do this before the health thing ever got started. So please don't be turned off by our health talk. And if it's a little too much from time to time, it's okay to let us know that too. Sure. Because we can talk about a wide range of issues, and that's what we really get into. I mean,
you know, obviously this is a big thing in my life right now. You know what I mean? But this isn't just
it will be forever.
Yeah,
it will be forever.
It has to be.
And it is in my life, and it always has been. I mean, since I started seeing you, I always brought a smoothie, you know, in a little cooler. You said, "Hey, bro, how do you get this shit how's this shit stay so cold, man?"
Right.
because I start cold from the start. You know, I use frozen berries and stuff, and then I put the jars. When I pour the smoothie out of my BlendTech blender, the shit doesn't just pour out. It's like kind of congealed because it's still like partly already frozen. So I have to like jiggle that shit out really gently so it gets into the jar. And then I fucking cap that real quick, throw it in the very top of my fridge where the cold air comes out into my fridge. Nice. And that's where I store them. And then I put them on ice in a cooler when I travel.
I noticed that you got a lot of systems.
I do, bro.
This is what I do this.
People call that anal.
Right.
I just think it works for me.
I just call it doing shit right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when it works for me, it works for me.
Yeah.
So if you want to have your smoothies be cold as fuck and then have them, crispy, fresh, ready to go.
Sean's dropping knowledge.
That's one way to go. And people, you don't want to put them in the freezer because they're going to rock up.
Yeah.
But you don't want them to be just kind of
When I was younger, I made the mistake of putting a can of Coke in the freezer.
Yeah, everybody's made that mistake.
That shit fucking exploded everywhere.
Bro, beer is the worst.
Yeah.
Because, usually you just want that beer to not be warm and you want that alcohol. You just need it. It's like, I want this beer to chill out and calm down, but I don't want to drink a warm beer. It's fucking disgusting. What am I, a heathen? So you throw it in the freezer. Yeah, I'm not an animal. I'm a normal, good adult human being.
Right.
So you throw it in the freeze and then you forget about it because you took a bong rip or you might already been a little bit meh. So you go in there and it's you got frozen beer up in your fridge.
Yeah,
I don't miss those days.
No,
I don't.
I don't miss those days
but I do. For those people who, are like, dude, you're anti-alcohol or whatever. I'm not anti-alcohol. I have alcohol at my house for guests.
Sure.
I like people to be comfortable. It's just one of those things that I don't like thinking about my caloric intake. I think enough about cupcakes. I think enough about donuts. I think enough about chocolate. I think enough about stuff to have something else in my body that actually affects my, it's psychoactive. Alcohol affects you on a molecular level, but it also totally affects every part of your brain and how it works. And when I'm not going to fuck a hooker if I have some beers.
Right. I'm
not going to, the skanky girl thing, that was, just being extreme about it. I never, I always had some standards, but it's one of those things where, I don't like things to influence me in a negative way. I don't want something to take away from the, even my hydration.
Yeah.
I don't want to be dehydrated.
I just don't like not being in control. I don't know. That's just I think that's just me. You know what I mean?
And that's part of it too, because it'd be harder for me to not eat a donut. Yeah. It'd be hard for me to not want to get a fucking cupcake in my system.
I understand the social lubrication and all that. And fortunately that's not been a struggle for me. I just like to go out and have a good time. I'll make people laugh. I'll laugh with them. And pretty soon we're just kind of vibing. But I know some people do need that something to loosen them up a little bit. You know what I mean? But I totally get that. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. But that's the shitty thing is that when you become addicted or when you become dependent on that as your social lubricant and just instead of learning how to take deep breaths. Yeah. Okay, I'm anxious around these people. Or if you're always anxious around a certain group of people, they might not be the right group of people. So how many people, and they might just be drinking buddies. Yeah. So you might have a really unhealthy habit that you've developed that then you have support from your network there who are just like, we love to do this. Yeah, of course you love to do it because you're fucking doing it all the time. And it's one of those things. And alcohol really is addictive. So when, you see me taking puffs on my pens or joint or bongs or whatever it is, it's I'm not having a chemical reaction that's causing an addictive, feeling in my body that's going, I need to satisfy this feeling. I really need to get chronic in there because fuck, man, it's usually, I'm not even thinking about it. I have to usually go, you know what? I need to I need to smoke. Right. I need to do this. I want to do it because I'm going to be switching gears at this point. And this is going to help add to that.
Right.
When people are like, bro, you sound like, your thought process isn't completely crisp and stuff, or, you struggle for finding words and stuff. Sometimes I do, but it's because I'm just trying to convey a thought. Sure. And I'm trying to do it articulately and I want to communicate well. So usually it's just in my own head. I'm like, okay, how do I say this?
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing that, really the idea behind this podcast is we don't really script anything. I take a couple notes, but honestly, we have no idea where this is going, which is sometimes why it might seem like it jumps here and there, but this is just a conversation between two friends, and we're kind of having it like you guys are the friends that are joining us.
You totally are, too. That's the thing. It's like at points we're going to be starting playing clips. People will hopefully send us voice messages and stuff, and we'll go, hey, Let's
Yeah,
play some
'cause,
voice
you know,
messages.
exactly.
And then because you can do that on that Anchor app, especially,
Yes.
there's a button to press. And
Yeah,
then
we
you
tested it out. It was awesome. So like again, it's just Anchor. The app is free.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's on Android as well as iOS. But yeah, just find us and send us some messages.
And we're going to be on YouTube, so try to follow us on YouTube.
Yeah, as long as everything goes smooth with this, we should be on YouTube. Hopefully, we get the audio lined up and everything. This is kind of new for me, but a lot of people asked. A lot of people are like, I like to just throw it on in the background. So if it's on YouTube, it'd be cool. So
well, I listened to it and it sounded pretty good.
Right.
Actually, it sounded good. So because I have a high standard for podcasts,
we listened to like the best podcast. So we're trying to. This one's going to be mastered also, by the way. So the sound will be better. So.
Sweet. Well, another really good podcast to listen to is The Fighter and the Kid, because they
Yes,
kind of do the same thing. It's just like they show up and then it's like, all right, bro, what's going on today?
Yeah.
Let's talk. What's up? And then you really do get kind of more of an organic chemistry out of that.
Yeah, when I first heard about podcasts, I was kind of turned off by it. I was like, what even is that? But once you hear a couple of good ones, which would be amazing if this turned into one of those someday, you know what I mean? But right now we're just having a good time. But I love audiobooks, and I love listening. Like as soon as I'm finished tattooing, I throw on a podcast while I'm cleaning up and everything. And I guess I just feel like I'm constantly being fed information. A lot of times it's funny, you know what I mean? I love humor. And that's, to me, that's just my turn on. It's just like, I like that fly on the wall kind of thing.
Yeah, that background.
Yeah.
I do too. And it's something that I developed because my brother really had to push the Joe Rogan podcast on me. I mean, we were going down to Glendale for the national championship in 2010. I took him down there because I'm a fucking awesome brother, and I paid for the whole trip.
Nice.
And it was $2,000 per ticket, and I got offered $6,000 per ticket by StubHub, and I still gave my brother that ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. You are a good brother.
And I'm a big fan. Wow. So anyways, we had a great time, even though we lost that game. And my brother put on the podcast when we actually got home, and we're driving from the airport to his condo at the time, and he was like, all right, brother, I've been telling you about this podcast, and I'm going to make you listen to it. And I was just like, he is going to make me listen to it, this motherfucker. I'm in his car.
You had no idea.
I couldn't move or anything, and I'm just like, okay, let's listen to dudes talk.
Yeah, you're like, fucking fantastic.
Right. Well, cool, dude. I mean, the UFC commentator and we're going to talk about eating donkey dicks and weird shit. But no, it was just really cool, fucking intimate look, and they was uncensored, and that's what I really liked. Is the dudes were able to say fucking shit. And I smoke weed, and have you ever done DMT? And mushrooms are cool, and other things are cool too. But you gotta be careful about shit. Right. And I was like, wow, snap. That's like real truth.
Yeah,
that's like,
I hadn't heard stuff like that.
It felt like talking to my friends.
Exactly.
And that's why I was like, okay, there's certain things that these guys are onto, and this is some really cool fucking media. And then I got hip to like audiobook. I can't remember. Oh, it was the Game of Thrones audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got the first one free.
Right.
And I was like, I had read them first, which those books are amazing. When people love the show, everybody loves the show. And then everybody was like, yeah, have you read the book? The books are fucking epic. Right. There's so many more characters. It's point of view shit. So each chapter is through that person. So you also get the inner monologue. Yeah. That's why it's so good. You get all these things that aren't even close to the end of the show. It's so brilliant. And Tyrion is my favorite. So I'm already on book 3 again.
That's cool that Tyrion remained, because he's always been my favorite. I have not read the books yet, but it's cool.
You're going to freak.
Yeah.
The first book you listen to, as soon as you get into Tyrion's brain, you go, oh, I'm done now.
Nice.
I know I'm done. Yeah. Now I'm listening to hear Tyrion every fucking time. Right. But after you do it, I used to cringe when Cersei when they come to her chapters, and now I don't, because I'm like so into her fucked up mind, and I can almost empathize with her crazy bullshit.
I know, isn't that weird when you start doing that? Like, I love when a movie's so good, when you're like, I know this is the bad guy.
That's how you know it's good, man.
But I get it.
That's how you know it's that good. And there's never been another author to be able to capture individual characters and tie them together in a storyline like George R.R. Martin. I mean, I've read all the epic fucking series of fantasy series that are worth reading, and George R.R. Martin's the best by far. That's why the show's amazing, because they butcher kind of the dialogue in the book, and then add it to the dialogue in the fucking show. But the fucking books are so amazing, and I love them. So I keep on reading or listening to them, because there's little details. There's because there's still 2 books to be written, trying to figure out this puzzle. Who Who says some little bit of information that's going to play this huge thing, and you're just like, well, what the fuck? Where did Jagan Hagar come from? And then after he leaves Arya in the second book, where the fuck does he go? And then, you know, there's a lot of other characters that you're kind of like, well, what it, you know that they're doing stuff.
Right.
Because in each book, he unveils new characters too. And so by the fifth book, there's like 35 characters that you're reading through each point of view. And he tying this whole story together. And you're like, this is so fucking grand. It's unbelievable. And it's so detailed that you can just like picture it better than any other thing. My other favorite book that's just like one book is Stephen King's It. That book is, and I was onto that way before they made the movie. And I was telling you, I was like, finally they're making a good movie out of it. It's about time.
Right.
But I feel like
they
should have
done a good job.
Yeah, they did for film one, for chapter one. But I felt like they should have done a Netflix series, man. They should have done a total 10-hour fucking series. It's a 50-hour book on Audible. People know when you see it, it's a Bible. It is. It's thicker than a Bible. It's so intimidating that people don't want to read it. So they go and they watched.
And there's only the Tim Curry one before.
Yeah.
Like there's not another.
Well, it came out in 1985 or 86. Right. So, and the original storylines from like 1957 is when the original murder starts with Georgie, when, you know, fucking that original scene. And when they're all kids, it's in the 50s, 58, 57 or 58. Then when they're adults, it's in 85. So, and it tells the storyline first of like the kids, and then it starts tying in stuff from like adult, then it goes back. And they don't remember shit. Because until later on in the book, then they start remembering stuff from when they were kids and their experiences, and it's so fucking good. It's it's chilling, but it's not just dark. It has the opposite too, because it's a book about light and dark. It's the yin and the yang, and it's about balance. It's about universal balance. It has amazing like deities in it. The creator of the universe is in it, and then this other really positive like God. And then there's the dark creature that they call It.
Right.
And so it's this amazing take on light and dark and that balance and that struggle and in the back and the forth, told through the experience of kids and adults. It's really relatable, man. I mean, it's from the 50s, but they didn't have fucking cell phones.
Look how ahead of the times that was, though. Like, you know, you heard us talk a couple of times on this podcast about being fascinated by people who do these amazing things. Like, that's incredible.
He was on the right drugs. Stephen King, that book, It. Yeah. He was on the best balance of blow and whatever the fuck he was on that time. It's the best single. If I was stuck on an island with one book, it would be that book. Because I could die feeling like I had read something that was, I wouldn't give a fuck about the Bible, the Quran, any of that shit. Give me Stephen King's It, and I'll figure this shit out.
Right.
And
Stephen King's It and the fucking coconut tree.
And when people are like, what's up with the kids fucking and shit? It's not about kids fucking. It's about, it's a fertility cult. It's about an ancient fertility ritual.
Right.
Look into fertility cults and fertility rituals. And then you'll kind of understand this grand aspect. And
I noticed the new movie really glossed over that. It was very...
well, I think they're going to get into it in the second movie. But the cool thing was about the first movie is they had introduced the turtle, which is the being of light and the antithesis of it. So read that book. I mean, do it on Audible because Steven Weber, who does the voices, is so fucking good.
We're not sponsored by Audible, by the way.
Yeah, this is an unofficial advertisement for Audible.
I know we talk about it a lot, but I don't want people to think that we're just like pushing it. But we just happen to really...
We pay for Audible, so I pay to
I mean, if you're listening and you want to send us some free shit, then hey.
I will definitely take free credits.
Right.
And I will take some endorsement at some point because I definitely can talk about how awesome the entertainment of Audible is because Steven Weber, for the book It, does such a good job, man. He does all the voices, and he's like fucking perfect. And then Roy Daltrey does the Game of Thrones, so it's one reader. One reader does all 35 of those characters. Not only those characters, the characters that they interact with.
Right.
So you're talking about probably literally hundreds of characters throughout those books.
Jeez.
You know, whether it's a barmaid or a fucking whoever, some guard, whatever it is.
I'd have a hard time remembering. Like, I'd do the barmaid one way, and then when I went back, it'd be a different barmaid.
And he keeps this shit straight. And it's not only that, it's about how the person whose point of view hears that person.
Nice.
So it's like
it kind of does change.
It does change a little bit, but it's on purpose. He keeps track of it, and it's so that's why I'm like, it's beyond good. You couldn't do this shit yourself.
Nice.
You can't do this well in your head.
Yeah.
So read the books. They're amazing. And then listen to Audible or however you want to fucking do it, because we have like 3 years until the next season's coming out. So, so you have time, man. You can catch up on these books. They're fucking epic. And each one's like,
I'm sold. I mean, you got me pumped on it. For me, it's a matter of time. You know what I mean? But honestly, like, I like to get here early and kind of get set up, and I like to hang out a little bit afterwards. So I think I'm just going to start putting them on.
Bro, I was doing it while I was on the AMT machine today.
Nice.
I mean, with some Tyrion stuff and some other stuff, and I was like, this is juicy enough that I'm entertained. That's
funny that you say that too, because when I first started running or training or anything, it was always like the most aggressive music. And then I noticed, like, as it became my life, I'm like, I can listen to audiobooks, I can listen to podcasts. It's like anything that just keeps me interested. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I'm like, shit, I've been going 15 minutes. I've been going 20 minutes.
What's nice.
You start watching the clock, and it feels like an eternity.
Instead of needing somebody screaming at you, go, motherfucker,
exactly,
go.
Yeah.
It's like, I can just be entertained. I can tune out because my body knows what it's doing. I've got the fucking muscle memory down. I've got my rhythm down. So now I'm just going to be entertained and live my life. And you just so happen to be doing like exercise and shit while you're doing it. And I mean, get a little Bluetooth speaker. I mean, the phones now scream, nowadays. The speakers on these phones, that's why
it's ridiculous. I was taking a picture of a tattoo the other day. I've got the nicest camera you can buy today, and the iPhone pictures that my customers taken were like pretty close, and I was like, motherfucker.
I know, bro.
Not that the iPhones are cheap, they're still $1,000, but you know what I mean? Like, I really researched my cameras, and I was just like, I mean, it definitely, ultimately it is better, but goddamn, everybody's got
so slim of a margin.
Most people wouldn't be able to even tell the difference.
So now the camera is being converted to a studio camera.
Exactly.
So there we go. But
this should look really good, by the way, because this is a super nice camera, even though it's low light and everything.
So we have a dual purpose. Hopefully the batteries are playing on it.
I know.
We're not just like talking.
We might be talking to it. If there's no video, then we'll fix it next time. But and speaking of exercising, a lot of you have already sent in videos and
have they? I haven't heard anything. Yeah. So that's what's up.
Yeah. So,
I haven't seen or heard from anybody.
Yeah, I'm kind of just keeping it. I'm kind of just monitoring. Thank you for everybody that sent it in. This is going back to the tattoo contest. If this is your first time listening, I want people to join this contest where basically you prove to me that you are super motivated to get healthy. This isn't about like necessarily just losing weight. This is healthy. I don't want you to starve yourself. But you can message me for details about it. But ultimately, I think we've got about 20 days left. I'm going to give away $1,000 worth of my tattoo time. There's nothing involved. You have to buy nothing. You have to do nothing. This is literally just me giving it to you. That's how excited I am about helping people get on the right path. So listen to the second episode. There's much more details about that. Tell your friends. Join the contest. It's completely free to join. But I've gotten a handful already.
Because that was 10 days ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I've gotten four really solid ones. A couple of emails just kind of asking about. But I'd like to get a good 8 or 10 to choose from. And even if you don't win the grand prize of the $1,000 tattoo, as said in episode 2, I'm going to give away prints, T-shirts, stuff like that. So it's going to be worth it. Honestly, it's going to just be worth it for yourself anyway. But this is just my way of, I want you to feel as good as I feel. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful inspiration. Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing about how people progress.
Yeah, I can't wait to have the winner in here someday, talking about their story.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Podcast,
dude,
right?
That's going to be so fucking awesome.
I just think, I don't know, man. I can't shut up about it, but if you could just know how good I feel.
Dude, and they will.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it's okay because, this content's here. Just like Joe Rogan's podcast, it's out there. And when you get to a chance to download it or when you do get a chance to listen to it, if any of this stuff kind of sinks in or resonates with you, then that's awesome. And if it doesn't, then, at least it's just something that, you're getting kind of educated to a little bit and stuff because the nutrition stuff is really good. I mean, not drinking water 10 minutes before, during
this is stuff that I didn't know, you know what I mean? And like, I'm learning this and sharing this with you guys as it comes in. So I think that's where I have a unique perspective. You have a lot of history and understanding of this. I'm going through this now. I'm learning shit that I shouldn't do. I shouldn't overtrain. I'm learning this, you know what I mean?
Which, I talk about this stuff every day with people.
Right.
So that's why it's so natural for me. And I don't feel like we're force feeding people some stuff to be
man,
get healthy and get some abs and go.
I had to learn that like, there's not some secret shake that's for everybody. Like it's not tailored perfectly to everybody. You know what I mean? You got to find what works for you. And as I'm finding things that work, we're going to share it on here.
And stuff's going to change.
Mistakes that
You're
I
going to
make.
be able to do more.
Exactly.
Probably a little bit more fruit and stuff as you need more sugars and you start, burning
and
more
speaking
calories.
of which, I'm still off all medications. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Good job.
I had one, not sure why, I had one night where my blood was like a little bit high and it kind of panicked me. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not ready. And it's everything. But I don't know. It was just one, and it wasn't even that high. It wasn't even diabetic high. It was just a little high, a little spike.
Yeah, well, you're sensitive.
Yeah, but it's been down. So, like, you know what I mean? For those that are following the whole thing, like, I was originally on 3 different medications. I'm on 0. I'm controlling it with my diet and my willpower, basically. You know what I mean? And my goal is to reverse it, put it in remission. You know, and I'll keep everybody updated for sure.
And even if people aren't starting from where you're starting from, so this, complete, like,
yeah, you don't
really out of healthy, really, unhealthy, out of shape's place. If you're trying to start from more of I've already got a decent routine down and stuff, but how do I tailor that? That's cool too.
Absolutely.
That's like, you could be starting from anywhere. Joshua's motivated me to really, spend extra time working on things, just getting that much stronger and getting my diet that much more dialed in. And the fasting thing, I'm really adhering to that much more for my sleep. My sleep is such a big thing. And that's why if I really am passionate about something, then it's because it works for me. And that's why I do that. Fasting is because it helps my sleep more than anything else I've noticed. That and like not eating sugar.
Yeah.
It's really ridiculous. I feel like an old person, but I'm totally sensitive to that shit. So I got to pay attention to it.
Yeah. You learn how your body reacts to things and you figure that out. And again, if this is your first time, I highly suggest you go back and listen to the first 2 episodes, but Sean's talking about intermittent fasting, and honestly, like, look into it. It does wonders. It has so many benefits. It's something that I will do for the rest of my life.
It's the easiest diet you'll ever do.
Yeah.
The one that we do.
Yeah.
That one where I was just talking to a dude today about intermittent fasting, like a couple dudes actually, but one of them I was saying, I couldn't do the one where you have to do it for like 5 to 7 days and you just cut half the calories out per day. I'm not that dude.
I think you're getting the same bit. The way that I do 16-8. I think I'm getting the same benefits anyway. Sean doesn't have the extra fat that I do to lose, so you do a little shorter.
Yeah.
But and honestly, like, sometimes I just feel so good that I'll be like, oh, it's been 16 hours. I'll just take it to 18 because I just feel great, and it just makes, when I finally have when I break that fast, it just tastes amazing, and I'm getting all the benefits. You know what I'm saying?
If you don't need it, then you don't need it. And that's where listening to your body is really good. And
exactly.
That's why I want you to try to incorporate some cannabis at some point, so you're that much more in tune with your body.
Right.
It really does dial in that connection with the body. And that's why so many super athletes use it, and so many other artists. But it's not just the inspirational and cognitive effect. It's also that psychoactive effect and being connected with your body. And so many yogis I know, we're all big fans of cannabis, and we all smoke because... No, I'm sure there's plenty of yogis out there that don't.
Sure.
But my crew, we do. And we aren't smoking blunts. We're not getting fucking faded, but we're getting in tune. We're getting, on the level with our body, so I can feel what's going on from my fingertips to my toes.
Right.
And I want to be one solid, strong, healthy unit. So that's why I choose cannabis, because when I was beefcake mode a decade ago, 230, I wasn't smoking cannabis. I was at a time in my life when I had decided to go really pure and really healthy. And so I wasn't drinking. That was, I had quit drinking and doing all other bullshit and even caffeine for a while, for a good year. And it's just hitting the weights hard.
Right.
And I was living off of dopamine. That was my drug, man. And dopamine is a fucking heavy drug. That's why you'll see so many dudes in prison. That's why they'll lift weights, because it's the only way they can maintain sanity.
Yeah.
And then tons of other people that get sober, they start doing that because they're addicts. So they need that
exercise addiction,
positive chemical,
real.
that positive chemical. And dopamine is why people do, you do coke, you get some dopamine.
That's part of why people get tattooed.
Sunshine's that liquid sunshine in your brain, man.
Yeah.
So you get that from weightlifting, endorphins and dopamine, man. Feels great. And it's just satisfaction. It's like a really satisfying on all sorts of levels, primal fucking levels. Yeah. So I just did that gun ho for a while and started blowing up. Like I said, was working, competing against my brother and
Right.
stuff, and I was liking how I looked. Oh man, from what I had been, like kind of a frumpy dude, a little beer bod, not bad, but you know,
A little bit though.
yeah,
Yeah.
coming out of construction and just been drinking beer and had been into pills and stuff, and not healthy, but not horribly out of shape either. And then getting in and putting some nice muscle on my body, started feeling good. Well, I didn't want to stop, and I didn't listen to my body. And that's what cannabis and other hallucinogens really do. They let you know what the fuck's going on inside your body.
Right.
They go, okay, this is where you're at. And a lot of them, they do it in your brain too. So that's why, you know, a lot of people have bad experiences or have had a bad experience because you weren't mentally prepared for a hallucinogenic experience. But when it's really minor, especially with weed, and you don't go crazy into the fucking other dimensions and you're just in tune with shit,
Right.
it's really healthy, and it's really helpful to let you know exactly what your body's saying to you. It's that feedback. Your body will tell you.
Right.
And I'm not saying you need to have weed with it, but you know, it's really hard to stay in tune with your body in this society with all the different frequencies and things that are going on. Social media, fucking regular media, life,
Yeah.
you know,
Especially today. Today it's just coming at us from every angle.
every angle. And that's part of the matrix. It's part of that thing that kind of keeps you overstimulated.
Yeah.
So you're not exactly in this nice little Zen harmonious place where you can start really, you know, feeling what is the reality going on around you.
Yeah.
What is going on? Don't tell me what's going on. I can see and feel and hear and know what's going on. And that's when you start really gaining your own truth. And so that's why I'm a huge advocate for cannabis, and a lot of my friends are too, as it really helps us to achieve that awareness.
Yeah. I think that comes around to, you know, why we chose to call the podcast The Art of Truth.
Yeah.
You know, somebody wrote me recently, you know, when we were advertising it on Facebook, and he was like, you know, very cool name, but what's the truth part, you know? And there's so many sides to that, you know what I mean? And, you know, just like you said, you know, discovering the truth about yourself and about, you know, being in touch with your own body, you know, and to me, you know, I can also look at the truth as some of the things that I've seen as far as going back to health, being true to yourself, you know what I mean? It's real easy, you know, to make excuses and to, you know, to listen to your family that tells you everything is fine, but you got to just look at yourself in the mirror and be true with yourself. You know, when I first was learning how to tattoo, once every 6 weeks, I would, you know, this is before digital photographs, I would take all my photographs from every tattoo I did, even if I did a bad tattoo, which I did, and I would lay them out on the floor, just lay them all out, and I would look at them with a sober eye and be real honest with myself of where I'm at in my tattoo career, where I'm at in my experience. And I was truthful with myself, which helped me become the better artist that I am today. And I will continue, hopefully, to continue being a better artist as I continue to be truthful with myself. You know, I got myself into my unhealthy lifestyle, and I got myself, or getting myself out of it by being truthful.
That's the essence of truth.
Yeah.
And I love it because, I mean, nobody wants to look at themselves in a negative light per se, unless they're trying to better themselves. Yeah. They're trying to figure out what the problem is, because it's hard to fix something unless you know what the fuck you need to fix. Yeah. And that was my main thing. So one of the reasons why I have some depth and some character is because I did a lot of crazy shit growing up.
Right.
A lot of
I like that because, like, you speak from experience, you speak from truth. You know what I mean? It's one thing to sit up here and just yap about stories, but when you lived it.
Yeah. I mean, you've been privy to experiences in my life since I met you.
Yeah.
So you know
some pretty crazy
ones. So you know that there's a lot of truth that I resonate from, and that when I speak about things, you're not just like, oh shit, I don't really know if he's coming from a place. It's like, no, I know that. And and that's a part of Sean, and that is me. And that's why I speak so passionately about those things that I do know, because that's where I should be speaking, and that's why I'm passionate, is because it is truth to me. And people speak all sorts of their own truths too, and a lot of them will preach at you and stuff. I hope I don't ever come across as preachy. That's not something I want to do. Sure. I just want to come across as somebody that has experienced something that you're now privy to knowing, and that's how I think we feel connected. Is that you go, oh, well, that guy did stupid shit at some point in his life, but look where he's at now. You know, he was there, and now he's here, like you.
And that's what's so weird. It's like, even though you did stupid shit, and I certainly did, looking back, I don't even know if I'd change much of it.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean? 'Cause
I
it's
think
like it still made me.
I think that's
where
the
I'm
mark
headed.
of success.
Yeah.
Is like when you don't have regrets.
Yeah.
There's stuff that, of course, if I could change,
Yeah.
I would love to go back. You know, fucking ghost of retard past.
Right.
Hey, bro.
Yeah.
Tap tap tap. You don't do that. You know.
But then you'd be
fucking-
on a different path, though. You
But
know,
then I
and, like,
would, yeah. And it was that experience, just like you hitting that fucking wall where you walk 13 miles and you had to experience. This is a fucking boundary. I felt like I was sick there.
Yeah, I didn't even. It like just happened.
You just had to experience it.
And even people, they hear me saying, "Oh, I'm getting diabetes was the best thing that ever." And it sounds so crazy for people to hear that, but I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I'd fucking be fat.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
be
the
unhealthy.
pre-diabetes thing didn't help you at all.
Exactly. I was just like, awesome.
It
I don't
almost
have
like encouraged you to keep going.
Yeah. So you're telling me I don't have diabetes?
Sweet.
Like,
So I have like more room to fuck around.
yeah. So like,
cool.
It's such a weird thing to say, and it was one of the scariest. It might have been the scariest day of my life, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I'd change it because I'm on my path now, and I know I got a long way to go. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I'm so fucking excited about hearing more stories, and I hope we fucking start a movement and set this on fire, man.
Well,
I really do.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear from other people that have, everybody's got different life experience, but so many of us have commonalities, common stuff where we're going to resonate with a ton of people going, dude, I feel what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
And now you're motivating me. And, I was motivated. I've said it probably 100 times already on this podcast. But when you posted that thing on Facebook, just letting people know what was up with you. Hey, man, hey, y'all, I had a health scare. Went to the fucking emergency room after,
that day was surreal.
Yeah. But I love that you shared. That was step one.
Yeah.
Of your story in this was, sharing that with people going, this has happened to me, but I'm going to tell you what's happening because I'm scared. I sensed the scare in you, and
Big time.
reached out. I texted you like, bro, I'm feeling for you. Let's get you healthy.
Right.
I'm here to support you. I take my health seriously. That I'm a resource for you.
Right. Utilize
me. Do whatever you need to fucking, get yourself to a healthy state. And you've been doing that in so many forms, and you haven't really, I have to like force you, like, let me teach you shit.
Sure.
Let me show you shit.
Right.
Come
here. I get stubborn. You know what I mean? I definitely like to figure shit out, but I'm not avoiding any of that. I know. I've got my weird way of doing
it's just
things.
When you're a very focused person, so I have to interject into that path of focus and go, okay, well, I'm along with you and our goals are similar and I feel you and I want to get you to that place, but I also need you to be aware of these other things, and this is what we're going to do to help you gain some awareness and also be strong and healthy. So that's why I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's figure some of these other things out and educate you about little things, because that's just a part of what you need to do. And that's part of why I'm in your life and why, we click and stuff, is because you're one of those guys who's open to that shit. And you go, bro, you know what you're talking about? So share some of that shit with me. I'm stubborn. So make me see what you're saying.
That's what's important, is to get with people, surround yourself with people who are positive influences. You know what I mean? If you've got that weird thing where you're like, I don't like hanging out with these people, that you're hanging out with the wrong people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you surround yourself with people that are going to be truthful with you, positive with you, and helpful with you.
And help you grow, because honesty is what's going to help you become a better version of yourself. And that's why if you just have like a crew of drinking buddies and stuff, and you guys just like to go do disc golf and everything, those aren't the buddies to talk to about life issues. That's not a counselor. You need to go and deal with the things that you need to deal with in a healthy, sober state. I saw a counselor a couple times in the last month because of some heavy shit that I can't even talk about right now that went down. We will talk about it later. I know a ton of my friends and family are waiting for me to broach the subject, and that's real shit.
I wasn't sure if to bring it up or not.
Yeah, we're not. We can't yet.
When you can talk about it.
So, but through all that, I'm still maintaining my health. Yeah, and that was a huge.
Yeah, because that could have been a huge setback.
Oh,
that could have been the fucking.
In so many ways. But I'm happy, healthy, and alive, and I'm focused on maintaining that and living that. I could have had it. I had a lot of opportunities to go, hey, fuck it, I'm alive.
Yeah,
It'd
be so easy.
Take a shot of whiskey and celebrate this shit. Or
it would have been so easy for you to make so many
pop some champagne. Let's toast to my fucking to being alive and breathing. So anyways, with that, it's one of those things where I'm just like, am really happy and blessed to be in this state. And I'm happy and blessed that you're in the state that you're in, because instead of Skinny Sean, Fat Joshua podcast,
right.
it's a couple skinny dudes. And you just get that much.
That would have been a funny name though.
I think, yeah, well, we can still tweak it.
Fatty
maybe we'll do some fucking little fun shits where we just have some sweet. When you get to a really healthy state, maybe we'll actually each have a sweet here, and we'll smoke some weed or something.
I like that.
And then we can.
I'll smoke a joint if you eat some cake.
I'm there. I'm sold. Nice. But yeah, I can't wait to also interact with people. Like, did anybody write to you trying to get us to bring up any topics or anything?
I mean, people wrote in and just, said, keep it going, like a lot of encouragement and stuff like that.
Awesome.
We do need to talk about some of the alien stuff. I mentioned it last time.
Bring it up right now.
And so a lot of people were really like, I want to hear it. And I'm amazed at how many people have some oddly similar experiences. You know what I'm saying?
I have met people across the globe
Yeah.
who have talked aliens with me.
Yeah.
And there's like really highly intelligent people.
Yeah. Like my mom, I mentioned her last time a little bit. We'll get into this a little bit. We're getting pretty long, but like a quick story. So my mom has always told me that she remembers being, I think, about 14, 15 years old. And she said she was riding on horseback with a friend. And she vividly remembers this ball, just this metal sphere floating right above the treetops in Indiana. And she remembers that. And then she remembers being inside the craft.
Oh shit!
Yeah, my mom just never lied, or she's everybody says her mom's a saint. My mom's amazing, and she's never given me any reason not to believe. So minimal. She truly believes this. She 100% remembers that, but she doesn't really remember anything else. But she's since then always been terrified of what they would call the gray aliens, like from that movie Transformation, I think it's called. But your typical alien, what people think of as aliens.
I had alien posters all over my room growing up. So
I feel bad now looking back, because as an artist, I could draw really well. So I used to draw these super creepy aliens, and my mom would be sleeping, and I'd go into her room and be like, "Mom, wake up!" And I'd hold the picture in front of her face, so she would just wake up and see this alien in front of her face.
Damn, that's fucked up.
What a dick move!
Yeah, that's fucked up.
My poor saint of
You're
a mother.
You're bringing up PTSD.
Yeah. So that's been always growing up. I've had that situation going on. And then, so kind of like these conversations, you get in these late night conversations. And, my grandmother was visiting one time, and I was like, did mom ever tell you these stories? And she was like, oh, I know all about them. And she's like, I got some of my own. It's like, really? So she tells me that my mom's brother, my Uncle Rick, when he was about 16, went out with his friends later than normal. She was, yes, you can stay out till midnight tonight, you know what I mean? And very nervous, was going out with a bunch of friends. So she waited up for him. Of course, there's no cell phones or anything back then. Doesn't come home. And she's getting nervous. There's no way she can get in contact with him. So she finally goes to bed at like 1 a.m. So as soon as she lays down, she says she sees the headlights of a car turning into the driveway. So she's like, oh, I can relax. Rick's home. Well, she sees these headlights. She lays down. She figures she'll hear him coming in soon. Doesn't come in. Doesn't know what's going on. Then finally she gets up. She opens the door, and he's laying in the yard face down.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And according to his words, it was his car that pulled up. They dropped him off. He got out of the car and straight up says that there was a spaceship. Right. He could see the glass. He could see parts of it. Like, it was that close. It was hovering above the house. And he ran towards the house, terrified, tripped over a fucking giant rock in the yard, fucking landed on his face and busted it open in the yard.
Oh, shit.
And to this day, never backed off, never said, yeah, I was fucking with you guys.
Yeah, I was a drunk.
Owns it hard, has a scar from it. Crazy. I mean, just,
that is crazy.
It's like,
dude, there's so many stories of UFOs, and there's so many depictions of UFOs throughout of flying aircraft throughout history. Mm-hmm. And that's why in the Vimana, in the Bhagavad Gita, and in other parts of India, they have documentation of flying, and then there's
cave paintings of
dude, and there's also those little miniature things that were made that are like aerodynamic aircraft things that they found in Peru that are gold. So who knows how old those are? And then there's also the fucking which you can say it's real or fake or whatever you want to say, but the hieroglyph of that Black Hawk helicopter looking thing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
a
yeah.
jet,
Yeah.
and a tank.
Yeah. I am wondering.
And it's just
that's real.
like-
it's very, very cool.
That's a goddamn helicopter,
Right.
jet, and tank.
Like, no doubt.
Yeah. For sure.
I wish that, like, because there's, I'll have to tell them other times. There's so many other stories, but I wish something would happen to me. I've seen, like the Phoenix Lights. Do you remember that? That was something that got me.
Yeah, a lot of people were up on that shit, and then
Yeah.
Elon Musk's
Yeah, exactly.
thing. People I remember were like, "Oh shit, it's on!
Yeah.
It's on, man!"
So like, I'm fascinated by that stuff, and like, I think we would be foolish to think that we're the only ones here.
I have so many theories about aliens.
come on, you know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
it's ridiculous. First off, I think they definitely have a technology that goes in and out of dimensions, so that they wouldn't just be. It's not just like, oh, they're in this dimension and then they fly and then they're back on Saturn or whatever, or when they go back to whatever.
Yeah, we're likely looking at the wrong thing. Like, we're not going to just be visited one day. Like, it's
Our
definitely
concept
dimensional.
of what's going on and how they travel is, I think, is off. I think it's a conscious based technology, so I think it's thought powered or at least controlled, and that they're able to travel through certain dimensions, so they could almost be in the same space as us but not be here because
that's fascinating to me.
They're in like the molecules are in superposition. So that stuff, I mean, it gets really deep, but when you start doing some hardcore drugs, hardcore hallucinogens, then you kind of start fucking around with these ideas, these theories.
The first time I ever took acid, shit like that happened to me. I remember writing down notes where shit just made a lot of sense to me. And I remember writing about wormholes and stuff like that. I was like 16 years old.
That's why acid's the shit. It's one of those cool.
The only thing I hated about it is it was like I'd be high for 13 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so long.
You really want to do the cleanest stuff that you can get, and then only go slow, go real light. Don't do extra heavy doses.
I remember this one acid story. Me and my friend Eric. What's going on, Eric? We took acid, and we weren't feeling it. It just like weren't. I don't know. So we ended up. He lived in a cul-de-sac, and we just like laid down in the cul-de-sac because cars weren't really coming in there, on our stomachs, and just started talking, just like we are now, just talking about life, talking about girls, like we were in high school. You know what I mean? And like obviously, as we started talking, it kicked in. But we didn't really know it. We were just chilling, you know what I mean? And then by the time we stood up, because we'd been laying down so long, because we were really high now, we both, I remember I looked at him and I'm like, is it me or are we giants right now? You know what I mean? Because we've been laying down, and he's like, not only am I a giant, it's snowing on that side of the street. You know what I mean? Just like
holy shit.
Some of my best memories, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those are powerful memories. I have friends that can literally remember like most of what I said during certain fries.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I was just kind of saying stuff to fuck with them or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I used to say some pretty funny shit,
right,
or enlightening shit, but it was usually just funny and entertaining. Trying to tie certain things together to make these grand things be really common, kind of like one of those 7 fucking degrees to Kevin Bacon type of deals, you know? And that was because I saw that there was some sort of connecting mechanism between almost every aspect of reality, but I just couldn't see it. I could sense it. I could sense it. I had glimpses of it. I had these little flashes of that's it, and then it'd go away, you know. And it's like, oh, there's a huge. There's this grand fucking picture.
And then LSD kind of just tied it in for you.
And mostly it was mushrooms at first. Yeah. And that was the hard thing, is because the mushrooms were never consistent. So you'd always kind of be like, man, I wish we had the same mushrooms that we had last time. Yeah. So let's take extra ones this time. So it kind of put you on a different trajectory. Yeah. And that's what's, you know, what you get in this realm and in that world is you get what you get. And so it's really good to, if you find something that's good that works for you, get enough. Yeah. Get enough that you can do it several times and enjoy that, because if it's good for you, it's good for you. And being in tune with what's going on in the world is good for you, unless you're such a fucking mentally feeble bitch
right,
that you just like, I can't handle it. Right. Which for some people, that I totally get that. Yeah.
But I think some people psych themselves up so much. It's like people that are like super terrified of needles. You know what I mean? It's like they just psych themselves up and they make it worse than it's ever going to be.
Well, there's no needle involved in LSD.
Oh, I don't even mean that. I mean like they remind me of people who like there's people who get tattooed but like flip out over getting a shot. Oh no, I don't mean needles.
We were going from drugs.
Yeah. That was kind of a weird way to segue.
But no, that you're right. That and then not knowing. So it's always nice when somebody goes, hey, this shit's amazing. You want to try some shit that'll like really fucking hit you and get you into this crazy zone. And then that's how I never solicit something. It's usually a buddy of mine that's going, hey, guess what? I had the most awesome experience the other day. And you can experience it too if you want. I'm just letting you know. And I'm like, yeah. Let's do that at some point. Get me something so I can experience that at some point, or at least let me know when I can get it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, I would say if you do go to the Anchor Podcast app and send us questions, send us. I want to hear some alien stories.
Yeah, man.
I want to hear some first time acid stories.
Yeah, and mushroom stories.
Yeah.
I love that those crazy ass fucking first glimpse into a different dimension.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you can't describe it unless it happened to you, and then all you can say is, "This is how I felt, and this is what I saw." You know? And that's awesome. I love that shit. I remember the second or third time I did it, I was with one of my other friends. And then my best friend, who is the guy who remembers most of what I'd say and shit. And he was one of my next door neighbors. And, I had this like fucking closet with a ton of blacklight posters and psychedelic shit and black lights in it. Yep. I had this badass walk-in closet that was like so big it was like a spare bedroom.
Nice.
It had its own window.
In your closet?
In the closet. Damn. So that's what I mean. Like it had cupboards and it was badass. And I had this like queen size mattress in there. So it was cool. And then I had my bedroom and I had like a little love seat in there. And I always had a sick ass Zenith 32-inch television and fucking savage badass stereo system.
My dad, closet, man.
This was in my actual bedroom.
Oh, okay.
My dad owned a pawn shop when I was growing up. So that's why I have this kind of different, unique perspective for people that want to have a background or understand my background. My mom was a elementary school teacher and then became a principal after that. And my dad was a pawn shop owner / gun dealer. So very right wing, and my mom was very left wing.
That's interesting.
It was interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. So I saw that coming to an end.
Yeah.
But I had to, grow up in that, try to find my balance, and it was really hard. So I always had really cool shit though, because I'd work in my dad's pawn shop. I mean, I had every single fucking video game console, all the best video games, all the best movies, VHSs. I had the coolest shit. First off, me and my brother were always allowed to watch whatever movies we wanted growing up anyways. So from like 4 years old, it was Van Damme and shit. I remember the first Cheech and Chong movie I watched was because my dad was like, we're going to watch Cheech and Chong. And I was like, what's Cheech and Chong?
Right.
And he goes, oh, you'll see. You're going to laugh your ass off. This is the funniest. Oh, you're going to see. You're going to love it. And he was drunk, and I thought it was the funniest movie I'd ever seen when Cheech tricks Chong into, or no, Chong tricks Cheech into sniffing that bag of laundry soap.
Yeah.
Because he goes, he goes to get pee for his fucking piss test for his PO, and he's like, yeah, last time I forgot to wash the mayonnaise out of the jar. Yeah, he's like, he didn't know what the fuck. He's like, this time I got my sister to pee in it. She's pregnant. It's really gonna fuck with his mind. And he's all, hey man, check out what I got though. And he pulls out that fucking Ziploc bag full of fucking powder. And he's like, hey, chinga la gala, he fucking freaks out. He's like, what's up, brother? Let's party, fuck yeah. And he's like, yeah, man, no, I this is actually just for me, bro. And he's just like, what the fuck you mean, bro? What, you can't just whip out that shit, bro? Come on, you got to share, brother? Come on. And he's like, nice. I can't. I would. I'd love to, I would love to, but
that must have been,
but I can't because, he's just like, he's just for me. And so he just plays him into that thing. And then all of a sudden he's just like, oh, you could smell it. You could really take one quick smell. And he smells it, and fucking, he's just like, yeah, just one quick sip, and he buries his head into it and comes off laughing. His face is all shit, and it's all soap. And he's like, hey man, that's soap. And then he drinks the fucking piss to like wash the shit out. He's give me something to drink. He's like, here you go, man. I was laughing so hard. I remember my dad was like crying and shit.
It must have been like, what an experience as a kid.
I had never seen weed on anything before, so that was my first exposure into weed in that life, and in that stuff. And I remember thinking, I want to watch all these movies.
Yeah.
And so we were allowed to do all sorts. Well, we were exposed to a ton of shit that other people weren't exposed to. I was karate kicking the fuck out of kids on the playground and stuff. I mean, I have on countless trips to the principal's office when I was young, and referrals and suspensions and all that shit. that was just how we grew up. We were just dumb and little wild heathens.
Yeah.
And I had homies that were way more wild. So don't think that I'm not trying to brag, because I keep it real and truthful. Right. A lot of my buddies were way, way, way more savage than me, and a lot of them aren't alive.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Some are in the pen.
Yeah.
And that's their truth.
Yeah.
So that's, how that's a little bit of my background. But yeah, man, I loved, so we did some psychedelics, and I remember my homie was in my closet, black lights on, fucking black light posters doing their thing. I was like, that's too intense for me. I'm not trying to feel that. Me and my other buddy, there's 3 of us. Me and my other buddy are, and the Blair Witch movie had just came out that weekend. I remember that. It would just come out, and we're hanging out. It's nighttime. It's like midnight. We had waited till my mom went to bed to eat these mushrooms, 8th grade summer. And they were really intense. And I remember looking at my one friend in regular light, not black light, and he had like 2 eyes, and then he blinked, and then another set of eyes came on his forehead, and his skin went like yellow, like the Simpsons yellow.
Right.
And I remember it like took on this different texture too when I was just looking at it.
Right.
And I was like, bro, you got 4 fucking eyes, bro. This is I love these mushrooms.
I don't mean to alarm you, man, but.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, I bet, bro. And he was staring at this alien poster because I had alien posters all around my room. And there was this alien, I still remember it, behind a fence. And on the fence, there was a sign saying, no trespassing, Area 51, blah, blah, blah. And he was like looking out like he was a prisoner. And my buddy was just tripping out on this poster. And he's like, you think that alien's sad, man?
All right. Can you hear me okay? Sorry about that, guys.
Perfect.
We just kind of ran out of tape, basically. So gonna let Sean finish.
I'm a long-winded dude. I'm sorry, okay, if you're over this fucking mushroom story and then whatever else it was going into, and even mentions the Blair Witch. But yeah, so anyways, I saw like different textures and multiple eyes on one of my best friends at the time. And
turning yellow.
I didn't expect that shit. I'd never experienced that before, because the first time I did it, it was pure dark. And so all of my sensory perception just went to basically my audible stuff. And then also I think my pineal gland was totally activated, because there was a lot of like little telepathy going on. So the visual stuff was all sorts of crazy. And then when my one buddy, who was my next door neighbor, thought that his older brother, who's my best friend, Austin, was in peril, like mortal peril, because him and our friend Abe were up here at the U of O doing some football training. And then they went and saw the Blair Witch at the McDonald Theater after that. And, and Willie was like, Austin's not home. Dude, guys, I think Austin's dead.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
He's just freaking out.
He would be home by now. If he's not home, he's dead. I have to go tell my parents. I have to go wake my parents up and tell them that Austin's dead. And we're like, chill the fuck out, Willie. Chill the fuck out, you crazy little son of a bitch. You're not your brother's not dead. Him and Abe are doing something. We don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they're probably having a good time. They're definitely not dead, dude. And we're, Willie, as soon as he went like out of my bedroom, because I lived upstairs, it was like dark. The whole hallway was, and the stairs down, and he wouldn't even he was supposed to go get us Kool-Aid and shit because we were super thirsty. And he was scared of the dark, like petrified and shit. He was like, I can't even go. So he would have never made it across the street to tell his dad that anyways, but that was what was going on in his head.
Right.
And I'm glad that we kept our sanity, me and Robert. We were able to stay grounded. And then Austin and Abe came home, and Willie was like hanging out my fucking closet window, still waiting for. Well, he was staring at at the ground. Apparently, he was talking about these grand chasms that were in my front yard, because there was like cracks that were like
just all the things he noticed because he's high. You know what I mean?
Higher than he'd ever been in his life. And then we hear him start talking to someone. We're like, what the fuck? Me and Robert go check out, and it's Austin and Abe home from the Blair Witch, and they go, what's up, guys? And we're like, oh, we're just up here doing our thing, And they're like, oh, okay. We just saw the Blair Witch, and I was like, see, Willie, told you he's not dead. Willie's like, wait, yeah, it could have been. And and then
still,
Willie was scared of the Blair Witch the whole night. And I was like, you didn't even see this movie, brother. I don't know what it was, but I know that bitch is gonna get me.
It's got witches in it.
He was such a fucking scaredy puss.
Jeez.
So
I remember when that movie came out, I remember like everybody freaked out about it. I mean, it was kind of cool for me. Like I wasn't high when I saw it, you know what I mean? But like there were people who straight up believed it was real.
Well, that's what they said at first.
Yeah, they did.
They
and that was the first time that they had ever done.
And then the actors came out and started doing like talk show fucking programs and
commercials
like,
and
oh,
shit,
this is nope, I'm alive.
Yeah.
I didn't die in a corner of some abandoned building.
I forgot what the budget was, but I know it was real low.
30,000.
And it made
like 30,000.
fuck ton of money. So
the dude who did it was brilliant. Fucking, that was such a good.
Yeah.
And it was because of that marketing. It was saying,
yeah,
the scariest shit that's ever happened. The scariest thing ever caught on tape.
Yeah.
You're gonna way scarier than The Exorcist. This is, it was like they hyped it up like it was real.
yeah. Oh yeah, the first few times I saw the commercial, I was like, this is fucking crazy.
I know, man. Yeah. And nowadays people would be like, fake.
Yeah.
Yep, it's fake. Dude, guess what? It's fake. Yep, I know somebody that was on the film. Yep, I know the dude that edited that. That shit's fake. It would be on social media before that, and it'd be burned. You'd go like,
you couldn't do it today. Yeah, you're right.
You can't go because you couldn't Google shit.
Yeah,
you couldn't go. Yeah, okay. What's up with the Blair Witch Project? Or who did that?
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything is instant access right now.
Yeah.
That's why Seinfeld isn't nearly as funny to people who didn't grow up in the 90s.
Yeah,
you don't understand. It's a social context. You have to fucking have lived in a time era when people didn't have goddamn the internet, cell phones, video cameras, and all that shit going on right then.
I like to think of like if there were new episodes of Seinfeld, like how they'd be. You know what I mean? Like since
like Larry David, it's like Curb.
Oh man, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm so much.
So yeah,
but like I picture like so it's today, right? So everybody's got iPhones and everything. So George goes into his friend's house, right? But his girlfriend's Wi-Fi picks up his Wi-Fi automatically. So she's been there before.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's
okay.
Shit like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I could see George being like,
"What do you think this means, Jerry?
Yeah,
you think she would stay over here? What do you think? Is she friend? How could she be even friend? How do you what? Who's just friends anymore?
Yeah.
People are so it must be a Tinder friend, or just go off on some shit.
Like I love to think of like how they could modernize it. You know what I mean?
That's why I love Seinfeld and George. Costanza so much. He's just that character is so neurotic.
Yeah,
he's so in his own head. That guy has no self-esteem. No confidence, sees himself as a loser,
right?
The loser, and it was like he was that battle with Jerry of who's the biggest idiot and shit. When he like,
oh yeah, and
he proves that he does by losing out on a lifetime of guilt-free sex, tickets to every event in Madison Square Garden
for the idiots,
King of the Idiots. Yeah, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus in that shit is the best because she ties them together. Yeah. As a woman, oh my God, I have the biggest crush on.
And she looks better. She's amazing.
She's a gilf.
God, she looks good.
She is. I wish I was young enough back then,
right,
or old enough, I guess, back then to have met her and impregnated her. She has a tall husband. He's a very tall, we were similarly built, so. I feel like maybe if the cards had been dealt right, but she's a billionaire. She has like
she's
$3 or $4 billion.
Very, very wealthy, and not even. Seinfeld definitely, but she was actually.
Oh, she smoked Seinfeld. Yeah. Seinfeld doesn't have. She could buy Porsche.
Yeah.
Like the company.
A lot of people don't realize that. You're actually one of the first people I know that actually knew about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to study the shit out of finances. I was fascinated with it.
Yeah, I know a lot about finance. It's weird because the less you get educated about it in college, the more you actually know. Right. It's weird. It's one of those things. You can be overeducated about things.
I remember it was funny. It was like when I was 20 years old, and I would read like Fortune and Forbes, and all my buddies were like, "What?"
Well,
you know what I mean. But I wanted to know the way things worked. I wanted to know, who was moving. I knew about Bill Gates way before. Everybody knows about Bill Gates now, but
right.
You know what I mean.
Well, I go deep into this shit. I'm like, okay, Bill Gates has got this amount, he's worth projected at this amount of money, and then all the other stocks and everything. Mm-hmm. What about the Rothschilds?
Yeah, exactly.
What about the people that are printing money?
Yeah, the real money that's not just that they're not in Fortune magazine. You know what I mean? So
the richest people in the world own countries. Yeah, they own mountains and rivers and people. And governments and corporations and other things. So
it's beyond. I think that's a perfect segue into something we can get in the next podcast.
Yeah, I love anybody that's
start talking about some of that real money.
The real money.
Yeah, I actually tattoo a real Rothschild.
We might actually get shut the fuck down and shot the fuck up.
Right. Maybe I shouldn't mention that I tattoo a real
Rothschild. It's like, why can't we get this thing to upload onto iTunes?
Yeah.
It's just never going to upload. We're fighting that fucking Rothschild, the Hearst mechanism.
Yeah.
That media group. You can't. You really got to be careful about who you're treading on. Yeah. But we're so small that it's like,
I think we'll get into it though, and I'm gonna get a little cheesy here. I just want to take a quick second to say, Sean, I really enjoyed doing this with you, man.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate you taking this chance with me, and even if it's just a few people listening, man. But I think there's more people seem to be
Unless
liking
we're on YouTube. It's weird how when people. And I'm wearing sunglasses is not because I'm trying to look GQ. This isn't my motherfucking Fabian look or whatever. This is it's a lot about allergies. We live in the Willamette Valley.
I think I've heard it's like the worst allergy, right? It's the
Dude,
worst
like
pollen
the
count.
Indians called it like the Valley of Sickness.
Valley of Sickness, exactly.
That's what Willamette translates into. And it's because of the pollen count. We're
Yeah.
the grass seed capital of the world. I wish we were the hemp seed capital of the
Right.
world, and the hemp because we have such an amazing fertile valley to grow this renewable source, but we're not. Instead, we have grass pollen and tree pollen that blows my face up.
Yeah.
Like my eyes, I went on a walk with my dogs, and my left eye just got
Boom, out of
fucking
nowhere.
lit up red. It looked like somebody put out a fucking a cigarette on my eye almost. It was so red. And I was like, Jesus Christ, cool. We going to film this podcast today?
I know of all days.
Guess
right?
who's wearing
Yeah.
Lokes today? So
I've had clients, fly out, and they're just like they can't even handle
Can't
it.
breathe.
Like, luckily, my studio is kind of locked away and hidden with the windows and stuff. But I've been lucky. I've been here, I think, 6 or 7 years now, and it hasn't hit me, which is crazy because when I was young, I was terrible with allergies.
Well-
But they say one day, one season, you're gonna fucking get
exactly,
it.
dude.
Yeah. So
And I was born here, so
Yeah.
my shit. I was born June 1st, which is like the height of
Yeah.
the pollen. So I
Yeah,
got it
it's the
right
worst.
when I was out
Yeah.
the pussy. Pop!
boom.
Welcome
to the world, bitch.
I know. Yeah. Try sneezing, try breathing, not gonna, and that's,
Yeah.
and I was, all fucked up. And,
Nice.
so that's why, and the fact that I'm smoking weed too, just, my eyes are fucking feeling burnt today.
Oh man, get home, get some Visine in those. And with that, again, I just want to kind of thank you guys. It's been pretty awesome to do this. I'm going to try to do once a week. My schedule's crazy, but I'm going to really try to push for probably Mondays generally, maybe uploading on Tuesday because of editing. But, really, really thank you guys for listening. Please spread the word. And with that, this is Joshua Carlton for Sean McCoy saying, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And we'll see you next time.